Hello, internet peoples. Between you and me, you should be outside playing in the sunshine instead of watching this bullshit.
The Far Cry franchise is one of the most well-known and successful FPS genres of all time, but it's the third game that made the franchise into the powerhouse it is today. Far Cry is well known for its great villains, trippy, out-of-body experiences and a ton of chaos. However, the success of Far Cry 3 would also become one of the franchise's biggest issues, which is stagnation, as every subsequent game would copy-paste the Far Cry 3 formula with only some minor changes, except for Primal. Who's a good doggo? Yeah, you are a good doggo, yeah. Although Far Cry 3 is seen as the best game in the franchise by many, there are aspects of the game that are commonly criticized. People tend to critique its story and characters as being shallow, unrealistic, or just plain boring. I personally disagree with this sentiment. I think the game is actually much more profound and deep than what most people give it credit for. I shared this sentiment in a Discord and the response was, play more games. And I understand this comment, as many people have probably only played the game once or maybe when they were younger. And I know this because when I played Far Cry 3 back in the day when it came out, I didn't really understand what the game was trying to say. I just thought it was a shallow depiction of the game trying to be deeper than what it is. And I kinda hated Jason. I thought he was loud, obnoxious, and just talked too much and was just in the way of all the fun and action. And especially during all the cutscenes with him. But in recent years, after having replaying it and having become enlightened, I not only like Jason, I think he could and should be regarded as one of the best written video game characters of all time. Although the game is already seen by many as a masterpiece in its own right, after playing it again and analyzing it more or less, every aspect of it, I think it's even better now, and I wonder what's a higher grade you can give a game that's already a masterpiece. So in this video I'm going to analyze the story, symbolisms, and the whole game itself as to why it's such a masterpiece. And also, argue why Jason is one of the best written characters of all time. And how the story and everything around Jason makes his transformation to the guy who starts enjoying killing realistic. But before we begin, we need to kinda go back in time to understand just how this game was created. After the mediocre success of Far Cry 2, the Ubisoft development team started early production of the third game in 2008, and I have never seen such a 180 between different tones of the game before. Oh, maybe it's just an Ubisoft thing. They removed or changed so many aspects from Far Cry 2 that I would feel insulted if I was on the dev team of Far Cry 2. Now, I called Far Cry 2 in my video the antithesis of fun, but Far Cry 3 is the definition of fun. I would probably compare the first 3 Far Cry games to the Star Wars sequel trilogy, with a radically new vision with each new installment. Except that Far Cry games are, actually good. I just wonder how it felt to be a Far Cry 2 developer and then listening in on the pitch meetings when they changed everything about the game they had worked so hard on. And it must have been, something like this. Players dying from malaria? Get that shit out of here. Jason is a smart boy who takes his vaccines. Respawning enemy outposts all the time? Well, now you can capture them and enemy patrols will stop. Repair your vehicle 24/7 all the game? Screw that, here is a beautiful and lush jungle to traverse in instead. Buses to fast travel? Here you can fast travel to every single outpost you take. The orange piss filter for any African or south of US country filter? Nah, here's a beautiful jungle filled with vibrant colors and the water graphics. Guns jamming? Gone. If you wanna spray and pray a 200 magazine? Go ahead. Weapon degradation? Throw that away. Now you can buy all your weapons in pristine condition. So when they started to design the open world of the game, it was inspired by Red Dead Redemption and Skyrim. And there is a reason for the meme Skyrim with the guns.
and it's open world. And I've already told you this, but it feels like Skyrim with guns.
Yeah, that's a huge compliment. Huge compliment. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people to be able to. People are getting their hands on the demo, and the first thing they're saying is, "Where do I go?" No. Where do you go? Go. It's open world. Have fun. It's Far Cry.
However, they wanted to avoid one negative aspect of these two games, which was somewhat, the repetitive gameplay. Ubisoft wanted to make every encounter feel different and unique, and give the players agency to decide which way they want to handle the situation. What Far Cry 3 set out to do was give the players choice. Do you want to play stealthy with a long-range sniper? Go ahead. Bow and arrow and melee for doing the takedowns? Go ahead, dude. Or do you want to go in guns and blazing? And it works, and it worked out great in this game. And it's just kind of funny how the second game took place in Africa because the jungle setting was too crowded, so they went for Africa. And then they just completely made a 180 and they went back to the jungle in Far Cry 3. The game was set to release on September 4, 2012 on all platforms except the Wii. But it was delayed to November 29th, and the game's pre-orders were weak. But the word of mouth after the game was released would make the game one of Ubisoft's best-selling games, and in October of 2014, Ubisoft announced they had sold over 10 million copies. And in retrospect, Far Cry 2 sold 2.9 million copies. So to say Far Cry 3 was a success is a huge understatement. Though success would also bring critique, but more about that later. The game opens up with a Alice in Wonderland quote, and oh yeah, there are going to be a ton of those quotes in the game. And this quote in particular is a reflection of how Jason's life is going to change in more ways than he thinks, and he will come out as a completely different person throughout this journey. And the opening scene is fantastic, where it shows Jason and his other obnoxious friends doing all of these, crazy and fun activities on different islands, acting like spoiled, rich brats. We get introduced to every character while a compilation of cut content and trailer footage is played. So Jason and his friends skydive down to Rook Island as their last stop through their long Asian vacation. But this would truly be the last stop for some of them. It's a really cool reveal that all of that sequence was just a video, and it's revealed that you are captured by a pirate named Vaz, who is easily one of the best characters of the game and one of the best gaming villains of all time. The first impression of Vaz is that he is completely unhinged and is someone who obviously wants to be in control, which we see in how he reacts to Grant not looking at him.
I'm sorry, what did you say? What did you say? Did you want me to slice you open like I did your friend? Shut the fuck up! Okay? I'm the one with the fucking dick. Look at me. Look me in the fucking eye. Hey! You fuck! Look me in the eye! You're my bitch. I rule this fucking kingdom. Shut the fuck up, or you die.
He mocks Jason how he thought he was hot shit up in the sky, but down here he's nothing more than his property. He gets called away by a certain someone and leaves you alone with Grant, your older brother. Grant is completely unfazed in all of this and goes straight into survival mode, setting himself free from the cuffs. You can clearly see he cares more about Jason than himself, as the first thing he does is to help Jason get out of his binds and asking if he's hurt. He tells Jason to call over the guard, who gets a little too close to comfort as, Grant cracks his neck. And he has no problem whatsoever with killing. He's been trained for this and shows no remorse about it, since he was in the military. And now this tutorial section is probably one of the best ones from an Ubisoft game, as it shows you all the basic controls of the game, especially the new stealth mechanic, detection meter, and how to throw rocks. You grab all your stuff and a map of the island and continue on. Now Grant is a well-oiled killing machine as he kills another pirate with ease, while Jason is completely freaking out, but is calmed down by Grant.
Oh God, I can't do this, Grant.
Jay, look at me. I can't find Lisa and Riley and the others without you. So pull it together, okay?
Yesterday you were
Okay, I'm sorry.
Vaz more or less publicly executes prisoners whom hold no value as hostages, because, well, you know, they ain't rich. After making your way out, you and Grant come up with a plan on how to save the rest of your friends. It's revealed that Riley is also one of your brothers. But first you need some combat training, and you know, this game, you know, it's a good setup, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be epic, you and Grant together, the pirates will stand no chance, nothing can stop us, and well, shit. Grant is shot in the neck, with Jason frantically trying to save him from bleeding out, while everything else in the world becomes secondary, as we hear Vaz shouting down at Jason. Jason, unable to stop the bleeding, and unfortunately, Grant passes away. Now Vaz is a good sport though, and he gives you praise for escaping this far. Not thinking you are going to survive and he just wants to have some fun, he gives you a 30-second head start to run into the jungle before he comes after you. You know, a good old classic Bambi chase. And this is more or less a scripted event where you are chased by dogs, shot at, you learn the running and jumping mechanics, but after falling down a cliff, you are ambushed by one of the pirates who jumps at you with a knife, and through sheer survival instinct, Jason manages to overpower the pirate and stab him, effectively killing him. And Jason cannot believe what he has done, how he has killed someone and is completely freaking out. But again, his survival instinct kicks in again and he continues to run away. After running out on the classic Indiana Jones bridge, it's shot down, you fall into the rough river and seemingly drown. Until, and oh my god, I just completely love this sequence. As you are saved by someone dragging you out from the water, and the prologue is finished with one hell of a title screen. The intro is great because it tells you everything you need to know about the game, what your goals are, who you are. It's short and sweet and keeps scripted events to a minimum, or they are hidden well within the gameplay. You are awakened by a man in a military bomber jacket while lying in bed. The man is carving a tattoo on your sleeve. His name is Dennis, and he is probably the only person in the game who sees potential in Jason from the start, and he wants to give him a chance. Jason, however, does not really trust Dennis at first, as he goes for the knife.
You have the right to take my life. But no, I will also take yours. I am Dennis.
Jason.
And he sees the potential for you to become a warrior, and it's probably because you managed to survive escaping Vaz's camp, which no one has done so far. Jason asks Dennis for help to save his friends, but he's not gonna help you, because only you can help yourself, and he is going to free you. So remember that tattoo Dennis described on you? It's going to function as the skill tree for the game, where you will be able to unlock powerful abilities like better stamina, takedowns, and the most important one, crouching. Now, you're only limited to a certain amount of skills at the start, and further skills will be unlocked as you progress through the main story. Now, Dennis gives you a short introduction of where you are, and he tells you that you are in Amanaki village, which is one of the few places on the island untouched by the pirates, where everyone here seems to party in your honor because you managed to escape Vaz. And apparently this island has some sort of superstition attached to it, as it calls for the strongest people to come here, as Dennis was called here. And he joined the natives, the Rakyat, and became a member of their tribe. Now, Dennis seems to be a highly ranked officer in the tribe, as he brags about how he can get any woman here in the town, but his eyes are set on only one woman. He gives you some money so you can buy the shittiest and cheapest gun in the game. Now, Jason is of course quite hesitant, as he might be American, but he has never used a gun before. But as Dennis says,
What do they say in America? There's the first time for everything.
So he gives you your first mission. He wants you to climb one of the nearby radio towers, which is actively blocking the signals preventing shipments and communication between allied camps. And the tower climbing is a reminder that you are playing an Ubisoft game where climbing towers is now obligatory. And these functions are, more or less like a small platform puzzle, where you need to climb these broken down radio towers which become more complicated further down the story. Wait a minute, who is this voice actor? I could have sworn he sounded different in the E3 trailer.
Bodies in the minds of the Rakyat. Our guns do not stop until Voss falls at our feet. We are the warriors of the Rakyat, and I will lead you to glory! Voss! Where are you? Come out and face me!
Well, apparently the devs thought he sounded too similar to Adam Jensen from Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Pritchard said someone's been using it to access our system since before the first attack. The security measures he and I set in place never stopped them because we didn't even know the loophole existed.
But I gotta say though, the voice that sounded like Jason in the E3 trailer, it did not really fit the story Ubisoft was trying to tell, because he sounded like an ex-Navy SEAL 120 kilos on steroids beast. So I'm actually glad they changed the voice actor, because it sounds so much better and much better fitting as a Cali rich kid brat. His behavior and more young and innocent voice is perfect for Jason, and to show his transformation. Alright, let's talk a little bit about the new map compared to its previous installments. And I like this map a lot more than in Far Cry 2. It's more streamlined in terms of different locations around the world. In Far Cry 2 you had to manually bring the map up without pausing the game, and I like the realism of this aspect as it's quite unique outside of other FPS games. But the issue I found with it was that you held it up for more than 80% of the game when driving or running because you needed to know where you were going. And it's just so contradictory because I'm looking at the map instead of the beautiful environment. And furthermore, another big change was the map is now blacked out, whereas in 2 you could see everything on the map from the start. So you reveal more of the map after liberating more bell towers, and it more or less reveals a circle whenever you capture one of them. And they show on the map, different locations where to hunt certain animals, different enemy outposts, friendly towns, and a lot of different side activities. You can also double click now on a friendly location, outpost you have captured, or a city, and you fast travel there. All in all, I think this was a great change for the player, but maybe a little bit too simplified as it lost its uniqueness. The world of Far Cry 3 is so damn beautiful, and it has aged so well even though it's soon 12 years old. And I think it's due to the lighting that makes the jungle look superb, and the water looks so clear that you wanna go and swim. And the game has just aged like fine wine. There are many ways to traverse throughout the world. You can drive cars, use hang gliders. Personally, I choose to not use cars for transportation, as the jungle was just so beautiful and gorgeous, and the fact that you can always gather resources on foot between missions alone made me run way too much instead of driving. Another new addition is the new wildlife mechanic. In Far Cry 2, they were only there for decoration, and ironically enough, the devs said the reason why they are only for decoration and they don't provide any material was to dissuade players from killing the animals. The wildlife is structured with either herbivores or carnivores as they hunt each other, and they fight with each other, and they attack Rakyat, Pirate, and you when you get too close. While there are also some really cool QTE moments when the beast jumps you. And this mechanic does wonders for the game to try and immerse you, and it makes the world feel truly alive. I wouldn't say that there is a huge variety of enemy types. There are, the standard t-shirt guys that will run melee at you and throw molotovs and run at you while they are on fire. There are the more tougher enemies that have Kevlar, which are hard to kill. And then there are the special enemies, they have either snipers or rocket launchers with them. And finally, there are the big boys. And they are hard as nails to take down without some serious firepower or being able to take them down with a takedown. But combat is not that much about enemy types, it's more about how they interact with each other and respond to you. And also that you need to alter your approach to a situation depending on what enemy is in front of you. The enemies will also have some idle talk, which is mostly about STDs.
Ah, shit. It burns like a mother when I piss. Should have used the rubber. I'm getting bored now.
They also communicate with each other when they find a dead body or detect you. And they are more aggressive when they are in greater numbers and more cowardly, both in behavior and speech, when their numbers dwindle. The new camera function is a great addition to the game, which lets you tag enemies from afar, which will be seen for a long distance, but also through walls, which makes it essential to scout out an enemy hideout before engaging with it. You can also loot enemies as they drop, some interesting items that you can sell. And there is an interactive looting animation which immerses you more, but I can tell you this fucking thing gets really annoying after the 100th time, and it reminds me how many modern games wants to be as realistic as possible, making looting take forever. And the enemy AI is quite good here actually. They are super aggressive, they will flank you if you stay at the same position for too long. The issue is not an enemy. They're really easy to kill when it's only a few of them, but when they start to swarm you, it gets difficult real quick. Of course there is the issue with how they react. I don't think there is a single game that has solved the mechanic yet when the enemy finds a dead body. They become alert, and then they go back as if nothing happened.
I'm going to find whoever did this.
The stealth system has also been improved, giving players a throwable rock, which is unlimited, which you can use to distract enemies by either throwing it on an object or ground near them, which will distract them and make them look away and walk towards the rock. It also opens up the opportunity to skip combat entirely and just sneak through the enemies. Enemy alertness is quite sporadic. If you shoot and kill someone which others see, they will run towards your position. So it's important to stay on the move while killing enemies from afar. They also become more alert if they are actively searching after you. So their detection meter can go from 0 to 100 in just 1 second. It happened to me multiple times when liberating outposts that there was only one enemy left, but he detects me in 1 second and I lose out on a ton of experience. The weapon system in Far Cry 3 has been improved, where you can now mix and match 4 different weapons of any type you want, so you're not stuck with a secondary, pistols, special weapons and just unnecessary things you don't really want. You can also mix and match different add-ons to your weapons, like different sights, scope, increased ammo capacity and different colors, and the most important thing, the silencers. The amount of weapons have also been expanded, and even a new category called signature weapons, which hosts some of the most powerful guns in the game. Although in order to unlock these you first need to meet a certain requirement, for example liberating all the bell towers, outposts, or just collecting a certain amount of relics or do different challenges. All in all, great addition to the game. One of the coolest mechanics is the new skill tree, where you gain experience for various tasks, and these points, you can spend them on different abilities from 3 different trees. Some of the skills are really useful, like Marathon Runner, where you can sprint forever without being tired. The Knife Takedown, where you do a ordinary takedown but you can grab the enemy's knife and throw it at a nearby enemy. There's also faster movement while crouching, and then there are some that feel really useless, like shooting a handgun while on a zipline. You don't need to feel rushed when choosing which skills you want. If you finish some of the side content, you will have enough experience to get every skill. The 3 different trees also specialize in different skills. The Spider tree, which focuses on stealth and survival skills, the Heron, which is long range takedowns and mobility, and lastly the Shark. the best tree, which is all about assault takedowns and increased healing. And some skills are locked behind certain requirements, such as Ninja Step, where you need to liberate 2 enemy outposts undetected, or Deal Breaker for example, where you need to finish 3 Wanted Dead missions before you can unlock it. Although I was not a fan of how the map is explained in the tutorial by Dennis, in order for Jason to save his friends, he needs to become stronger. Dennis says the path and the jungle will make him stronger. It's to learn from the jungle and to trust your instincts, as I kinda like this line about how society and not the jungle has taught you how to fail. So he sends Jason to skin some boars, which you chase with a knife, and pick up some plants to create a weapon holster and healing syringes. After gathering all the skins and plants and crafting the basic equipment, you head back to Dennis when you suddenly get a phone call from the phone you picked up back at Vas's compound, where it's revealed that a nearby enemy outpost has one of your friends. Jason assumes the girl's voice in the background is Lisa's. I know it seems stupid as hell for why Jason would answer and giving away that they are listening in on them, but again, I'm just gonna take it as he's inexperienced, he's just emotional right now and he doesn't really think, it's just pure reaction. So I don't mind it that much. It's an honest stupid mistake. Now you drive with Dennis and some other Rakyat warriors to the outpost to liberate it. Dennis reduces the whole thing about saving his friends as to something killing 2 pigs with 1 stone, as they are at war with Vas, and taking outposts is the key to reclaiming the island. Dennis tells you that the only way to rescue your friends is to fight. And here is when Dennis gives Jason his first real dangerous test to see if he truly has the potential to become a true warrior. He tells Jason to be the first one to attack the outpost, and when you start shooting, your allies will come and help you. And you can either stealth kill your enemies here or go in guns blazing, it's all up to you. But the former is more or less impossible, because what I don't understand is why the developers included a dog on this level, because this is before you have any silent weapons, so you are unable to kill them all in stealth, because you can't really kill dogs in stealth unless you throw a grenade or something at it. It's just an odd choice, as this mission should have been, an intro training to stealth kills, and they added the hardest enemy during stealth in this game, which are the dogs. After dispatching the pirates and breaking in the door to the safe house, Lisa is nowhere to be found, but you listen in on a nearby radio which says that the hostage managed to escape towards the western side of the island. The Rakyat warriors embrace you as being worthy of the Tatau and walking the path of the warrior. Dennis informs you how one of your friends has been found at Dr. Earnhardt's house, which is a safe area on the island. We don't know which one of your friends it is though, but Dennis will keep in touch if they find anyone else. He also mentions how the tribe is quite impressed by Jason's performance. You know that he is actively feeding Jason's ego and confidence at this point, because imagine being praised for killing people and justifying it with a cause. It's after this mission that the world truly opens up, as all tutorials are now finished. Now, when it comes to side quests and side content in single player games, I'm a complete addict. I feel as if I'm gonna miss out on content if I'm not doing every single side quest, if they actually, reward me for the effort. Which is very much the case here in Far Cry 3. There are many different side quests for you to complete, and there are around, 14-ish of them. And some of them can be interesting, like helping a girl who's being abused by her husband. She wants you to go and steal some nearby diamonds from the nearby privateers, so she can pay for a boat to take her away. But plot twist, when you come back to her, it was all a ruse, and she was only faking it, and her husband was in on it. Though he gets really mad at her for screwing up the script and starts beating the shit out of her. So you kill him, and now she swears at me and she is mad at us. Yeah. Another one had me go to a nearby cave where 3 people had seemingly died from mysterious circumstances, and no one wants to go into the cave because it's now haunted. But you go in and you found that the bodies have been killed by an animal. And when you try to walk out of the cave, the game spawns an alligator, which was not there before when you walked in, you know, just jump scaring me like a little bitch. Cheap jump scare, Ubisoft. And lastly, one of the worst side quests I have ever seen in a game, where you are tasked to bring back 3 items which had been stolen from a person. And the first one you need to get back by winning in a poker game. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this game has a poker minigame which plays like a real Texas Hold'em, but it takes so long to win a game, and if you don't like poker, you are going to hate this minigame. But yeah, they force you to win against 3 opponents to finish this quest. Afterwards, thank God, you only have to kill 2 people to get the last items back. But you know, the reward was $500. Yeah, you only get this amount every single quest. What a complete waste of time. You get no rewards from them whatsoever except for money. The side quests just scream lost potential. I honestly don't know why Ubisoft even included a lot of them, since they are so low effort with no reward. And oh yeah, there's also a knife throwing minigame.
Try fucking aiming.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say. There are also, you know, some weird side content. Because you have to remember, during the 2000s it was quite common to sell different versions of a game where different parts of the game are cut out. So you could maybe get, you know, some bonus quests if you pre-ordered it from Best Buy, and some others if you pre-ordered it from GameStop or Walmart, you know, different guns, etc. Unfortunately, you gain every single thing on the PC version, which I played. And some of these unique side quests that you only get are, you know, with Herc, you know, probably a staple of the game because he shows up in every single game after Far Cry 3. And it's more or less a chain quest about monkeys. And there are 4 in total, where you steal diamonds, you kill Rakia turncoats, escorting Herc in his boat, and destroy a weapon stash.
Hoyt's stash is officially destroyed. Total Caruso moment, bro. This is so fucking awesome. You got no idea.
No big deal.
No big deal? No big deal, man. For the last 10 years, shit has been stagnated. The old was the new. But there is more happening now than in the last decade, man. I decree this totally fucking awesome. You done good, monkey. You done real good, monkey. What?
And Herc is doing all of this to become a member of the Rakyat, and he will call you Tat Bro a lot. And these missions, you know, they are okay. I'm just not that fond of Herc as a character. There's also a weird questline where you explore all science bases, where you get some neat Assassin's Creed reference about the Piece of Eden and Abstergo. These are really short, you don't really get much reward from them, so I don't really see the point of these. You know, one of my main complaints is why there are so many side activities. They don't offer any unique rewards. Or why not have, you know, finish 10 side quests and you will unlock a signature weapon. There's no incentive to do them. And this is the same thing with the Wanted Dead missions, where you need to kill enemy captains that have a yellow symbol with a takedown. The others around him are okay to kill, but the only reward is money, and it's not even a big amount. So these again lost potential, since it would have been much cooler if there was some kind of other reward for killing all of these captains. One kinda cool thing about the side content is that the developers gave players the freedom to do whatever they wanted in the open world, playing the side content instead of just continuing the main missions. How ignoring the urgency to rescue your friends was meant to reflect the player's inner mindset of, you know, just having fun. Because again, you know, the island is luring you. It wants you to stop remember yourself, you know, stop remember your burdens of why you are here. And that's what's happening with Jason. He knows he needs to save his friends, but every single thing on the island is luring him away from the path. And instead he's walking the path of the jungle. There are also different quests on the dreaded bulletin board, which is annoyingly repeated every time you get close to one of those liberated outposts. Someone will say, "Have you checked the bulletin board? There are more quests on the bulletin board, Jason. Do them all." And there are two types of quests. The first being the Path of the Hunter quests, where they want you to go to a nearby area where you need to pick up a specific weapon type. So yeah, if you have the same weapon type, let's say you're provided just a basic shotgun, but you in your equipment already have the best shotgun in the game, which kills pretty much any enemy in one hit, and it's more or less you need to kill either a specific animal or a certain amount of them, and some of these are just rewarded with money and the pelts you skin of the dead animals. But this is one of the most genius aspects of the game. There are also rare Path of the Hunter missions, where you are tasked to kill a rare animal which is often surrounded by other non-rare animals, but they have a certain distinct color and health bar which tells them apart. And these can be really hard because you're only provided a bow, but the rewards are awesome. Because the reward is a rare skin that you can use to create the last upgrade on your different equipments. So a lot of these feel, obligatory in a way, but never time consuming. And it's one of the best side activities in the game. And this new crafting system is where you can craft weapon holsters to carry more weapons, bigger wallets to carry more money, and bigger bags for you to use so you can just pick up anything you find. And all of these have certain requirements with the rare skins to get the best edition, and it's really fun until you stumble upon the bears. And I honestly have no idea how PETA was not all over the game, seeing as one of the main gameplay functions is to kill and skin every single animal you find. So suffice to say, if you can't stand killing animals, this game is going to be Iron Man mode for you. You can also craft drugs, performance enhancing medicine. For example, giving you more damage, running faster, resistance to fire and explosions, animal repellent, swim faster and longer underwater. But my favorite is the one that highlights all nearby enemies and animals, which makes it much easier to hunt, but also much easier to spot enemies. The issue I found with this is that it's really annoying to switch with anything such as the different medicines, your different grenades, your different modes, or explosive or fire arrows. There are also the Trial of the Rocket activities, where you need to beat an in-game record, which they are fairly easy and they are fun as hell when you get unlimited grenades to throw at enemies, unlimited rockets, and one of my favorites, driving over pirates in a car where you more or less drive on a timer to rake up as much points as possible. And within the time span you can increase your time by shooting or driving over these blue time barrels, and I believe you only need to come in top 3 for it to count towards your progress on the collectibles. And if you thought this was the only side content, you have never played another Ubisoft game, because there is a ton of collectibles here. You can collect these different relics that are scattered throughout the island, and there are 120 in total. The different statues reside in different locations depending on their engravings, where spiders are in tombs, herons are in high and hard to find places, sharks are underwater, and boars are behind walls. And when you gather these you gain experience, and when you collect enough of them you are rewarded with special recipes such as invincibility syringes, which makes you immune to death for a short duration. And the coolest aspect though, when you collect these, you see small changes on your tatau grow with every one you collect. There are also the missing letters from the Japanese World War II soldiers, where they tell their stories in letters that were never sent or found, and these are, kinda cool as you learn more about the Japanese troops here stationed on the island and the island in general, because these soldiers started to slowly go crazy. So it seems regardless of generation, anyone who stays on Rock Island for too long loses their minds. And thank God it has a great reward, because if you collect enough letters, you will unlock a really cool katana melee weapon, which is super strong and kills most enemies in one slash, even the heavy guys. Alright, what else? There are also memory cards, which are found in laptops in safe rooms at camps that you liberate, and they give you experience and recipes on how to make drugs. And thankfully you also unlock a signature weapon when you collect enough of them. And speaking of signature weapons, I love them. They are expensive as hell to buy, but they are also locked behind different challenges that have to be met. And these weapons are super strong and are by far the best weapons in the game. Personally, my favorite weapon was the Ripper. It's insanely powerful, shoots through walls and can kill anything the enemy throws at you. By far the best gun in the game. Now I have heard some critique about how the game lets you do all of these side activities before you progress the main story without any reaction from Jason because, you know, the cutscenes are scripted, so it makes it hard to adapt the cutscenes to what you're doing in the game. And I don't mind it that much, because again, the freedom was intentional by the developers. And it plays into the story of Jason having too much fun or being allured by the jungle instead of immediately helping your friends, and furthermore, you're also doing exactly what Dennis told Jason earlier in the game, that he needs to go on the path and the jungle will give him the strength, because collecting plants, skins, doing side content is actively making Jason stronger by giving him experience that he spends on skills, and his Tatao will grow. Let's talk about the meatiest and best part of side content. The outposts were a great addition to the game that so many games have copied ever since, but it's a perfect small minigame, almost because you need to scout out the whole area and you can see the enemy patrols, how they move and where they are. When you clear an outpost, you are able to fast travel to that location now, and furthermore, the enemy patrols in the area will stop and are replaced with Rakyat warriors patrolling now. And you know, the downside to this is when you have captured every single bell tower and outpost, the world becomes kinda empty. But seeing it was either this or Far Cry 2's outpost system where the enemy will infinitely respawn, between these two I would pick 3 all the way. The game also awards the player with more experience points if you manage to take out an outpost without being seen or making sure no alarms are activated. And you can either manually turn these off or shoot and destroy them. If an enemy detects you, he will run towards the alarm and activate it, calling in for more reinforcements, which can be quite a few later on in the game, and it gets really hard when you start calling in helicopters. There are also wild beasts in cages that you can shoot open. And I think the beasts were a little bit overtuned in this game because sometimes they can solo the entire camp by themselves. It just feels so gratifying every single time when you liberate an outpost. And I'm really glad that Ubisoft has kept this mechanic in every other Far Cry game. Though I think I might have overdone it a little bit with the side quest because it made the rest of the main story a little bit too easy. You kinda wanna go in between main story and side quests, because if you do every single side quests before the main story, it's going to be a little bit too easy, so try and mix and match depending on the tempo. After making your way to the most western part of the island, you see this colonial house, which is the only house of this type in the game, which matches a western architecture. And you enter the greenhouse and you meet with Dr. Earnhardt.
See anything you fancy? I like the red ones myself.
The purples will give you a lift on a grey day. Everything is excellent, really.
And he's a great side character, which I personally think is a little bit underused in this game. He's clearly under influence and seems to be half there and half here.
I'm so f***ing high right now!
He's an expert in making drugs, and he sells these to the pirates who in return leave him alone. And alright, with Earnhardt here, I think we can probably go into the theory regarding how, you know, people are drawn to Rook Island, but once they're here, they all go mad. And to prevent them from trying to go mad, they have certain vices that keeps them at bay. Earnhardt, for example, is obviously taking drugs as he cannot stand reality, and as many people who are alcoholics drink so they can forget or not have to think at all. Because we know this in his bio, where it's stated that he had a daughter who unfortunately passed away, and by exploring his house there are bottles, books everywhere, and you know, the house overall is just a mess. But his daughter's room is the only room that's fairly clean and intact, with even the pink wallpapers, toys and aesthetics. Just by looking at Earnhardt, we know that he has no longer any control over his life. His clothes are dirty, huge bags under his eyes. Now, it's revealed that the person he picked up was Daisy and not Liza, which Jason thought. Oh, and for your information, Daisy was Grant's girlfriend. She has a severe fever and unfortunately cut her arm while escaping the pirates. She grazed an upa tree, which is also known as, let me see here, Antiaris toxicaria, and these are apparently extremely poisonous, and she has been administered an antidote every hour since she came here. But the medicine is about to run out, so you are tasked to gather some mushrooms. And now there are some creepy vibes about how Earnhardt talks to Daisy.
Think nothing of it. The girl must live. For you and me both.
Creepy. Jason enters the nearby cave, but then he does something that will change the Far Cry franchise and many other games forever, because he steps on some mushrooms.
Whoa. What the hell?
And I just love how these sequences in Far Cry 3, it's not just Jason being high, but we actually delve into his mind, his dilemmas, insecurities and a lot of symbolisms. Some might scoff at this, as the game is trying to be deeper than what it is. But I think the game does a wonderful job at setting up foreshadowing with this mechanic. And the most important aspect is letting us know more about Jason and the overall changes to him. It's quite obvious that Jason is not a man of commitment. He does not want to move with his girlfriend Liza when she gets a new career. Liza thinks Jason is immature and he needs to grow up because life goes on. And that life is not just one big party. And the scene does a great job with the growing plants and foliage around you, symbolizing how the jungle is slowly growing and taking over Jason's mind. If we look at the character entry of Jason, he is a daredevil or a adrenaline junkie that craves action and something new constantly, jumping from place to place. But at the same time, these aspects are quite similar to someone with a substance issue. He just wants to forget the real world and all the responsibilities that comes with it, and instead live in his own dream world. And he says in the vision how he probably won't even come to his brother's pilot graduation.
Yes, sir, I'm busy.
The house moving away every time Jason gets close, symbolizing his fear of commitment, as every time something important comes up, he just shoves it away. How the greenhouse is gradually pushed away, and how Jason needs to leave civilization to become stronger. There is one line here which is important to understand, how Jason is able to master all of these weapons with no prior experience.
Hello? What are you afraid of? You're a natural, man. Afraid?
And I believe this voice is Grant talking. And it explains how Jason is able to learn with such haste and how to use and be efficient at using guns. Though how he learned how to use a grenade launcher or light machine gun, I don't know. But I just like the fact that he actually tried to explain the reason why he's so proficient at using weapons. Alright, so Jason finds the mushrooms and he picks up one Why the hell does every single game do this? Just chunk that stack into your bag. The doctor never said how many mushrooms he needed. Better grab some more to be sure, right? You know, hell, the quest text even says find the mushrooms. It's plural. Why is he picking up one tiny mushroom which is singular? It's like picking up one ammo in a pile of ammo. I just hate when games do this. After coming back to the house, Jason hands over a mushroom. And no, Jason, that's one mushroom, it's singular. You know, I would blame the American education system, but the game was made in France and I hope it was just a translation issue. Earnhardt immediately goes off to make the medicine. He also informs Jason that Daisy has woken up. And now comes one of the best performances by Gianpaolo Venuta, the person who voices Jason, where we follow his point of view in this scene. And well, we never really see Jason, we only see his body, never really his face, except for the dream sequence where the other characters become him. He brings out a great performance after breaking the news to Daisy how Grant is dead.
Jason, what's wrong?
Grant,
Stop.
Daisy.
No.
I'm so sorry.
Both Jason and Daisy breaks down to this fact, because for the first time, Jason actually have some time to mourn what actually happened to Grant. Daisy gives some last words to Jason before he goes.
Jason, whoever did this, whoever killed Grant, deserves to die.
And again, this is one of the main reasons that is egging on Jason to do whatever is necessary to get his friends back. It also gives him justification to kill anything in front of him, but also to get revenge on Vas and anyone else involved. Jason asks Dr. Earnhardt if he can bring back all of his friends that he finds to this location. Earnhardt refuses this because danger with pirates and he does not want to have any of Vas's captives here. Until Daisy asks him, and he's still clearly up in the sky as he mistakes her for his daughter, as he would do anything for her. Daisy waves and reassures Jason that she's gonna be fine and leaving her with the doctor. Also, the money on the dresser that you see in the cutscene, you can pick that up later. Just not at the end, as some people say, you know, just later, so be patient. Dennis calls Jason and asks him if he found his friend, reassuring Jason that he did all the job and all the work, not Dennis. Stroking Jason's ego and giving him more confidence in that the current path he's taking is correct. We still need some clues as to where all of his other friends have been taken. Dennis mentions a nearby ship called the Medusa that uses a satellite dish for communications. If Jason could infiltrate it and listen in, he could probably find something else. And this quest is more or less the first one where you actually have to stay in stealth, because if you alert an enemy, it's game over. The mission is to kill 3 radio operators which have a yellow mark over them, and this is a good introduction to the stealth mechanic, you know, just use rocks to distract the enemy and you will be fine.
Keep playing with me, big. Aha!
After killing the 3rd operator, because you know, of course you need to kill 3 of them, because the prior 2, because it does not matter in which order you kill them, you need to kill 3 of them. You know, game mechanics. You pick up the correct intel and the key to the radio room. You enter the room and listen in on the pirates talking about a place called PC, where all the pirates are recording ransom videos for the hostages. It's also revealed that even if the parents pay the ransom, the kids will go on the black market, where Vas will ship them to various buyers.
Double the money Daddy likes.
Apparently the pirates, for some reason, had bugged the radio so it alarms everyone aboard the Medusa, and they now know you are listening in on them, so they send reinforcements. I'm just a little bit suspicious as to why they would have had all the security. It just feels that they would always know when someone is listening in. but it's probably just to move the story forward and more combat. Yeah. I would have probably made it more that if someone would have radioed in how they found dead bodies around the Medusa, it would have made it much more believable. So, you know, they send a few waves of enemies where you need to kill every single one of them, and it's quite easy to dispatch them. After mopping up and killing the last enemy, Dennis calls you. And yeah, let's just say it's always going to be someone calling Jason. Like, why can't, you know, just have Jason dial the others? Like, why does he need to be called? Before Jason could tell Dennis about what he overheard, Dennis urgently asked you to come back to the Amanaki village and help them as they are going to be attacked by Vaas's soldiers soon. Back in the camp, you tell him about the PC location, which Dennis kinda, you know, just shrugs off as, oh, don't worry, we still have time.
Taking us somewhere called PC. Vaas is gonna ransom them and then sell them anyway.
Oh, this is good then. You have time.
The Rakyat and Dennis wants you to help them first, as many will die otherwise if you don't sabotage the pirates' weapons. They don't really care about your friends that much, and surprisingly, Jason agrees with them and goes off to sabotage the weapons first. And it seems that Jason does not really prioritize his friends as much as he used to. And after sabotaging the weapons, Dennis tells Jason how PC means Pirate Co, where they record all the ransom videos, and again, as many times before, Dennis reminds Jason how the strength from the path will help him succeed. And well, inside the cave, you see the ransom videos, and Vaas takes his director role a little bit too serious.
Please. No. I want you to say Mom, Dad. Mom, Dad, I love you. I want to go home. It's very nice. I want you to do it again. No. With more emotion. You can do it, honey. Come on. No.
Yo, Vaas. The Brody boy just raped the common room with the Medusa.
Ben. I'm directing this film right now, okay?
You need to get out of here, man. Those fucking idiot cocksmen shooting.
Please! Stop swearing. Okay, we are in the presence of a lady actress. Fuck you. Fuck you. Did you see what you just did? You just turned my actress against me. Now get the fuck out of here. Disappear. I want to apologize to my friend and his complete lack of tact. Okay, this guy's a complete asshole. We're gonna win the Oscar for this, okay? Cheers. That's right, keep going.
And it just keeps on repeating like this. So you walk around the corner, you are knocked out by a random pirate, and you wake up next to Liza and Oliver tied to a chair, with Vaas pouring gasoline, dancing all around you to the sound of music like a ballerina. They leave you and Liza while grabbing Oliver with them and sets the place on fire. And my god, this game is giving me flashbacks to Tomb Raider 2013. One of the best character development sequences is the car chase. And I gotta say, car chases, you know, that are on rails tend to kinda suck because they're just there to waste time. But this is probably the first time I have ever seen a game develop its characters in a rail turret section. Because we see how Jason is completely in control, loving what's happening in all the carnage, taunting the enemy while Liza is in complete panic mode, throwing out one-liners.
Did you see that explosion? What? Something exploded! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Faster, faster! We're off-road, I can't! Says who? Cops? Heads at 10 and 2, 10 and 2! Oh my god! Drive straight, you're making me miss! How can I focus with them shooting at me? Serpentine! Serpentine! What?
She even starts to freak out from the fact that Jason is shooting at the enemy and killing them. Because remember, she has not seen Jason since they were captured. It's like he's a whole different person to her.
They're shooting at us! What are you doing? You're shooting at the Jason! I can't do this! How am I supposed to handle
Jason is starting to actually fully enjoy the adrenaline, destruction, and killing, and just the danger of it all. And after escaping, Jason is ecstatic, celebrating that they escaped, and Liza is completely in shock as how could anyone think this would be fun, being sold into slavery or being killed.
We did it!
You think almost being killed or sold into slavery is fun?
Hey, Lisa, calm down.
This is a nightmare.
Now pay close attention to what Jason is telling Liza, how Grant is dead.
I don't know anything about Riley or Grant.
Grant's dead.
Oh, Jason. I'm so sorry.
But I found Daisy. I'll find the others.
He no longer cries, he barely shows emotion. He takes complete control of the conversation, being in the center all the time, dismissing Lisa's feelings. He has changed so much already since the meeting with Daisy, and he just keeps going on about he will fix all of this. He brings Eliza back to Earnhardt's house, but Daisy has set up her location in a nearby cave where they will stay in case some pirates come knocking on the door. Daisy has found an old boat which she wants to repair so they can use it to escape the island. And yes, I'm aware that there are a ton of other boats that Jason comes across, but you know, most of these will probably be too small to escape out on the open ocean with. She sends you on a fetch quest to get an old motor that is in the same cave. And I'm gonna be honest, I used to hate these in-between cutscenes, between missions. You know, why would I care about these people? I just wanna go and shoot something already. And there's no way to skip any of the cutscenes, which made it even more annoying. But now, I love the cutscenes because they tell you so much more about Jason and how he's changing between every single mission, slowly losing his sanity and himself, becoming something entirely new. The cave overall will serve as a hub where your friends will gather and you can talk to them, which adds more to their characters. And a lot of people skip these different optional conversations, but the dialogues in some of them are just amazing and shows Jason's transformation. But some of these come later. Furthermore, there is a spot on the side of the cave where you can eat these pills that Earnhardt has made, and these pills gives you a flashback to before you and your friends came to Rook Island. You're somewhere at a club in Thailand where you and all of your friends are having a blast, and wait a minute, who's this guy in the beanie? We never see him again? Did Vas kill him at the start of the game? Jason goes off to buy drinks for the rest of the party. Daisy accompanies you, and she tells you how Liza is a keeper and how Jason should fight for her. But Jason completely ignores her, unwilling to talk about it, and invites the rest of the group for shots. Jason just wants to forget his responsibilities of the real world. And again, you can tell that Jason is starting to become more, well, unstable, because his reaction to what's going on around him is no longer normal, while Liza is acting completely in line as to how any normal person would react if they were in her shoes. Hence, Jason is really starting to not be himself. When they talk about what happened and what's their plan, Jason says how he will save everyone, while they will stay in the cave. And it's quite interesting how he does not want any help, he wants to protect them. He wants to do everything on his own without anyone else. It's a sign of him maturing, wanting to solve issues on his own instead of relying on others. But at the same time, why could not one of his friends become just like who he is now? Again, Dennis calls and asks what happened. Jason explains how he's not strong enough to save the others as Vas managed to capture him. Dennis cannot provide Jason with this strength, but he knows someone who can. Citra, Vas's sister. And after making your way to the temple where the Rakyat resides, we meet Citra for the first time, and she is a MILF.
100% MILF, man. Malaysian. I would like to fuck.
She lays one look at Jason, as he's first of all an outsider, a pretty white boy who is trying to solve their issues, and she is not the least bit interested in him. But after Jason explains that Vas killed his brother, she suddenly becomes interested in him. And I'm not sure if it's because Vas killed his brother and captured the other one, and how Jason will do anything to save his remaining brother, or both combined is the question, as she does not react or want to help Jason after he says he wants to defeat Vas and save his friends, because she wants someone to kill Vas. She knows Jason has clear motives to avenge his brother to kill Vas, so why not give him a try, you know? Because she has no faith in Jason that he will actually succeed on this mission. I mean, if anything, she expects Jason to die trying. She hands Jason a goblet and instructs him to bring back for what has been lost. And Jason asks if it's gonna be safe to drink this, and that his main problem is that he lets fear control him, according to Dennis, who again says it's necessary to remove your fear in order to save your friends. And while Jason is getting high as a kite off that mumbo juice, Dennis says some really interesting stuff.
Spend our whole lives holding back. Imagine how quickly you can succeed if you just take what you want.
And it is true that we humans often hold back, be it emotionally, strength-wise, words, or who we even are ourselves. Removing all of our restrictions is the easy way, and it goes against the notion of chaos instead of order. What Dennis is saying might look good on the surface, but when you dig deeper, you see weakness. And it's also, you know, kinda weird, since Dennis says the only woman he loves is Citra, yet he has not yet taken her if he can just take what he wants, so he does not even live by those words. And after drinking the contents, we see Jason falling from the sky, and it's really beautiful. And you actually see the whole island from above, and he falls straight down into the water below, where he sits down at a poker table under the water with Riley, Oliver and Keith. And the poker table and cards probably symbolizes how he's gambling with his own and his friends' life. How much a person is willing to bet on themselves and what happens when you go broke. The water disappears and everyone at the table starts looking at the man in a white suit, and how he is going to be the key to their whereabouts. Jason follows him, but every time he gets close the man teleports forward, all while the jungle vegetation keeps growing around Jason, just as before in the previous dream sequence. He's starting to succumb even more to the jungle and believing in the jungle. All of a sudden, he's transported down to the ocean where you walk really slowly, so it's kind of an interactive cutscene, which is neat here. He sees the whereabouts or fates of Keith, who is being abused by an unknown man. Keith is clearly scared for his life and looks defeated. He's clearly a different person from who he was in the pill flashbacks, where he was more of a macho man. What's interesting is how the unknown character models are being swapped with Jason's for short intervals. You see Vas and yourself, with Vas seemingly pointed a gun towards Jason's head, but at the same time Jason is willingly pointing the gun towards his head, wanting Vas to shoot him. You know, just like in previous vision, they swap places with each other. And lastly, he sees his little brother Riley, who is being tortured by someone who is throwing money at him. And like in the previous scenes, Jason is changing positions with Riley. Now all of these visions with Jason changing positions doing fucked up shit is due to probably what Jason could have become if we would have had, let's say, lust, power, or wanting to do drugs to stave off the insanity of the jungle instead of his now current hobby, which is hunting and killing. And now this is interesting. You walk through a seemingly Asian door gate, walking up to an altar and grabbing a knife, an exotic knife, but you also see a ship in the background, and all of these small things will come into play later, but it's nice foreshadowing from Ubisoft. You wake up and Dennis is giving Jason another row of tattoos, meaning Jason has gotten much stronger. And now he will become even more stronger as he can now learn even more difficult skills from the skill tree. And the fact that the vast majority of skills are related to killing, Jason's becoming better at killing. It's just now killing them in more gruesome manners.
Buck tipped them all.
After following the man in white to a place called Badtown, and you sit down at the local poker table. Sitting down at poker tables is going to happen a lot in this game, and you know, symbolism, bet, life, yeah. You do a scripted all-in, which the man in white congratulates you for a nice play. But a really cool thing though is that during the poker game, the guys who are playing with you talks about rumors of someone called Snow White, how Snow White escaped from Vase's compound and how he's now killing the pirates with a machete. And Snow White is actually a proper name for Jason, as first of all, well, he's a white boy. And he seemingly comes back from the dead twice now.
One time is funny, 2 times it's fucking annoying, no?
And if I was one of Vase's pirates, I would be scared as hell of Jason. After the man in white congratulates Jason for this all-in poker play, Jason cashes out after like what, 1 deal? Yeah, it's hard to make this proper in video games. And we get the first and thankfully only shadowing mission in a game where this mechanic was not intended, and they are often just awful. And there's no exception in this game, where you need to keep a moderate distance away from the man in white, and you more or less need to hide when he stops. You know, this mission is just a waste of time. I don't know why Ubisoft decided to include it. After reaching the hut he went into, you get locked inside with C4 strapped to the table, and Willis threatens to blow the whole place up unless Jason tells him who he is.
Jesus!
I doubt it. 5 seconds.
Jason Brody!
Really?
Yes!
So you're Snow White?
Yes or no? Which one gets me blown up?
Pragmatist.
And my god, I love the American stereotype. And Willis is a true patriot.
Promising. But do you consider yourself a patriot, Mr. Brody? Thing is, the real patriot doesn't just put his hand on his heart while holding a hot dog at the ball game. That's a gosh darn cakewalk, pardon my French. The real patriot suckles at the teat of Lady Liberty.
And thank god this man shows up in Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 5 as well. Willis knows where Oliver is, and he's currently trying to find the whereabouts of Keith. He invites Jason down into the basement where he more or less lives, and he reveals that he's a secret agent from the United States.
Jason.
What are you? Some kind of spy?
I'm not gonna confirm or deny that. Just messing with you. I work for Langley, Agent Willis Huntley.
Oh, great. I need to get help from the Army and the government.
You can't. I'm embedded, not really in contact with Central Intelligence.
Willis wants some help from Jason though, before he gives you the location of Oliver. He hands you a Flammenwaffe and tells you to burn up a drug field and Hoyt's boat. And yeah, this mission has been done to death, especially that song which was really popular during the early 2010s, which is copyrighted as hell. But burning shit up is always a blast in games. And the Far Cry franchise is probably the best at fire animations, just watching it spread. And it's no wonder this mission is probably one of the most iconic ones in Far Cry 3. Of course, it's interesting to see how Jason enjoys the destruction of the flamethrower.
Holy fuck, this is awesome!
You burn up a few drug fields and blow up the boats. And after finishing the mission, Jason asks Willis if he ever goes out on different recon missions with his fellow agents, and he replies.
No. There's a reason I have the American flag in here. In here, there's society, there's order. Out there, the jungle, the synapses in our brains go dark little by little. You forget where you're from, who you are.
You can clearly see how Willis has willingly isolated himself down here to escape the jungle, because only down here is he able to not lose his mind, as he sees this place as his self-proclaimed small America, where in here there's order and out there in the jungle it's pure chaos. Specifically how he talks to you about how your brain slowly goes dark, little by little, and you start to forget who you are, where you're from, which is exactly what's happening to Jason. Willis has almost tracked down Oliver's location, but first he needs some information regarding a transportation manifest, which Oliver's name should be on.
Run!
See you guys ready to run?
In the middle of the mine.
Welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker!
You take a picture of it and send it to Willis, who decrypts it and sends Jason to an abandoned harbor location where they are going to transport Oliver. And this becomes a kind of a guardian angel section where you need to snipe all the enemies who for some reason starts attacking Oliver, which kind of feels counterproductive, killing your own merchandise. Oh well. After helping Oliver get to the nearby boat and Jason getting in it, Oliver is clearly not understanding the severity of the situation. And it's another turret section, which is unfortunately not as good as the other one, where you climb up on the turret and shoot boats, rocket launcher dudes and choppers. And again, just like in the turret section with Liza, Jason embraces the violence and adrenaline. Afterwards, Oliver is still fairly calm as he thought he would be saved after his father paid the ransom. But as we heard over at the radio, at the Medusa, they were going to sell Oliver as a slave regardless of the ransom being paid or not. And Oliver finally realizes the severity of the situation. You bring him back to the cave where the others are. Now when coming back to the cave, Liza wants to talk with Jason about how she has built a cross for Grant, since, well, Jason has not really had any time to grieve for him yet. She wants to talk with Jason, but he is reluctant as he just wants to find Riley. He wants to stay on the path and not stop. He is actively pushing everyone else away from him, because just like the player, we want to continue with the fun. And this dialogue and scene are not fun either for us, the player, or Jason. Jason wants to rescue Riley, but at the same time going out to save him means more fun, more adrenaline, and he can't stop to think about everything else in life and just live. Liza is really concerned about Jason as he's such a different person, carrying all these weapons, the weird tattoos. She sees that Jason is changing before her, and how rescuing their friends is affecting him, and is probably the reason why Jason is the way he is now. You know, Jason tries to reassure her, and it is true that he's finally, for once in his life, taking control of his life, or at least he says so. Sure, like Dennis says, he needs to become fearless and do whatever he wants, but at the same time, that's resigning responsibility for your own actions and life. Jason thinks he's taking control of his life, but in reality, he's still running away from all of his responsibilities. And we see this when Liza again talks to him about she has a studio job waiting for Jason back home, which he completely shuts down as he just wants to focus on his own path, and he needs to be the one to find it. Now I also think the reason why Jason does not want any help, and he wants to do everything on his own, is of course partly due to him wanting to find his own way and not be influenced by others, which again is, you know, irony since Citra and Dennis are clearly grooming him into becoming their warrior, their vision of what Jason should be. I think it's also due to the fact that the reason why Grant died was due to him looking after Jason. If Grant left without Jason and did not focus on Jason, he would have probably survived escaping from Vass's camp. So Jason knows others will make him slow down, make him weaker, but also he does not want anyone else he cares for to die due to him. And in this section, you can also get one of the best alternate dialogues in the game, which is with Daisy.
Yeah, it just needs a little more love, but we're almost done.
Thanks for taking the reins.
Hey, you're doing the same thing out there.
Hey, I got a crazy question. You won first place at that swimming championship this year, right?
Yeah, 400 meter.
What did it feel like, winning? Not afterward on the podium, but in the water when you hit the pad.
like I was really present. Like the whole world was me.
You know, I never thought I'd be able to kill someone. The first time it felt wrong. Which is good, right? But now, it feels like winning.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
You know, Jason has started to compare killing to winning. It just says so much how desensitized Jason has become from feeling remorse of killing people. And in a way, us the player, we are the same. We see killing people as winning. Now, again, you can eat another one of these pills and you get another flashback, where you are tasked to find Riley and Keith. And you find them arguing with some local punks in the bathroom, and they tell Keith he owes them money for kissing one of their girls. Keith, you know, he's a really alpha man, or at least trying to act like it, as he refuses to pay, and there are some threats thrown at each other, but you manage to lead Keith and Riley back to the party. And after coming back to the land of the living, Willis calls Jason and reports that he has found Keith. And he's apparently been bought by Hoyt's best hitman. And he's located at the bar in Shantytown, and his name is Buck.
So his name is Buck, and he lacks the...
Buck is a really interesting character, and he's Australian. And you can clearly see he's into Jason. I mean, really into Jason. He pretty much represents the lust of the island, or rather that's the vice he has chosen to prevent him from going insane here. Although he is probably a little bit insane already.
I'm here for my friend, Keith.
Sorry, doesn't ring a bell.
You bought him from Hoyt.
Ah, him. He said his name was...
You're hysterical.
And my god, the subtle eye movement hints are quite rare for me to look for in a game, but man, Buck was looking at Jason like a piece of meat most of the time during the first conversation. He will let you leave with Keith if you can find and give him the knife, the same one Citra wants you to get. And for the next several missions you will work for Buck trying to find the knife. And the first one is sneaking aboard a ship, which hopefully holds the location of the knife. And this mission is... meh, as you can only approach the boat from two sides. The guards seems to see you regardless of which one you choose. It would have been cooler if you would have found an alternate way into the ship. You kill everyone aboard, meet your first heavy enemy, which is a non-issue if you have farmed side quests.
That was easy.
And in the classical and dead as hell trope of hacking a computer, by punching in random buttons, he does not find the location of the knife, but he does find a compass that's on the desk, which is a key to finding it. Still, for the love of God, I swear these are either the smartest or the dumbest pirates I have ever witnessed, because they have booby-trapped anyone who tries to copy the data from the computer with a hacking alert that sets off a hidden C4 under the computer desk. Like, what the fuck is this? Why not just have a guard come into the room with a rocket launcher, you shoot him in the leg or in the side of the body, and he trips, firing off that rocket behind you, rapturing the hull. Like, come on, why would anyone booby-trap a computer with a hacking alert? Come on, Ubisoft, you could have fought it a little bit longer. Anywho, the ship starts to slowly fill with water, you need to swim your way out of the hull, there are several air canisters here you can use, and it's just, you know, fairly easy. Though I love the short cutscene when swimming up towards the surface. I might be reading into it a little bit too much, but back when Jason drank the waters of Citra, and at the end we saw a boat down on the ocean floor making a signal, and I wonder if that ship is exactly the ship we were just on. Foreshadowing, whoa, whoa. Now, you wake up with Buck standing above you.
Jason, rise and shine. Come on. No, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, mate. But get the fuck up! Come on!
And let's just say he is not that happy about the results. He starts to threaten Jason with how Keith...
Oh, Jason. Keith is going to be very disappointed. He looked uncomfortable last I saw him.
He wants and needs to dominate the conversation with Jason, which we see happen frequently throughout the story. He also tries to establish control over Jason with history lessons. And these history lessons could also be the fact that he's the one, educating Jason. And teachers in general have a more dominant position in the classroom over the students. So again, a lot of history talk is Buck wanting to always be in control during the conversation. He also makes Jason call him by titles such as Mr., Sir, etc. He demands complete control from someone he likes. He does become a little bit more happy after you tell him you found a compass, which should just be followed according to the research, although why he knows that? What's interesting though is how Jason sees this faint green glow from it, while Buck seems uninterested in it as if he can't see it. After reaching the next mission location, Buck is already there, and he is obviously withholding information from you. He just wants more amusement. I mean, the man is clearly a sadist. He just enjoys messing with Jason, and it would not surprise me if what he's doing with Jason is turning him on. Inside the cave, you stumble upon more pirates who already had the location from the computer to this location, as they are on their way to blow up the wall to get into the inner sanctum of the cave. But there is an interesting new gameplay section coming up. There are no more enemies after you blow up the door. It's calming, airy almost, and it works great as you gaze upon the now falling but once beautiful city that had been hidden away, and this feels really much like a Tomb Raider game. There are a few cool puzzles down here, like shooting the supporting beams to increase the water levels, opening doors by pushing huge circles, and let's just say this particular mission is heavily based on Indiana Jones. As when you find another piece of the compass, the whole place starts to collapse, another booby trap, and it becomes a quite intense escape sequence with rocks and platforms falling all around you. You barely get out in the nick of time, but you guessed it, Buck is waiting for you once again outside, and this time Buck is quite angry with the fact that there's no knife down there. And it kinda feels like Buck does not know of more locations, or he's a great actor, because I 100% believe his sulking. After connecting the new ring with a compass, there's an even brighter shine from it, and even Jason comments on it this time. But still, Buck does not seem to see this light, and it truly feels like Jason is special in some way. It's as if all of these artifacts are responding to Jason, or is it because Jason is starting to truly walk the path of the warrior? Jason asks if Buck knows where he's supposed to go, with Buck answering,
Oh, mate. Just know where you're headed.
Now, before each mission with Buck, he gives Jason a history lesson about how they once built these different temples and hid their treasure and the knife here somewhere on Rook Island, how the Japanese tried during World War II to find the lost treasure and the riches to feed their empire, and how it's quite ironic how they were building their stuff, bunkers, atop of the thing they were looking for. And they are here after Chao Tang's flagship, which was used by the Chinese general Zhang He, who also owned the knife Buck and Citra are after. Also, fun historic fact, the Chinese emperor demanded that Chiang Hai should destroy his fleet because China was becoming more isolationist during this time, and they wanted to look inwards in China instead of expanding their borders. And if not for this, China would have been the ones to sail the world before Europe. Zeng also had a captain who went AWOL with the ship that was full of treasure, and he is the one who settled on this island and also enslaving the locals in the process. After finding the next location, Buck is already there and he is mad for Jason for being so slow. And you know, this sequence is just scripted because even if you rush towards that location, he will still say that you're slow. And again, he keeps on using Keith to pressure Jason into getting that knife faster. And this place is infested with pirates, where there are some interesting sections like the snipers on the other side and that you can actually push minecarts so you can stay protected, or you know, just kill the snipers like I did. This mechanic feels a bit underused, to say the least. I'm not sure why they could not have had done a section where you drive a minicart, you know, Indiana Jones Temple of Doom style, shooting pirates following you. Missed opportunity, I guess, or just too much of a trope. Jason finds yet another piece of the compass and another booby trap. Yeah, them Chinese did not trust anyone, I guess. Buck, again, is waiting outside, but Jason confronts him and comes to the conclusion that Buck has put a tracker on Jason, which means he knows exactly where he is at all times, and it would not surprise me if he put it on Jason when he found him knocked out on the beach, since he knew he was gonna be somewhere around the ship. Buck is really starting to be unable to keep it in his pants as he gets a little bit too close to comfort with Jason, which Jason of course rejects. And again, Buck is a person that needs to be in control, so he threatens to kill Keith if Jason does not fall in line. And you know the deal by now, follow the compass to the next location, Buck there waiting for you, and it's atop of a volcano crater with water below. You jump down and swim down. Pirates, again, waiting in there. And this time there's a lot of zip lines between each platform, and they mix it up by adding an environmental factor being the sulfur, which kills Jason if he stands in it for too long, and it only deals a small amount of damage. Again, it's an interesting mechanic, but it's just bad execution. Why not have enemies stand on platforms that you shoot and they fall down into the sludge, killing them painfully, or shooting the loose ground to poke holes into the sludge with pirates running into it. Again, they introduced these interesting new gameplay mechanics, but they never truly lean into them for more than 1 to 5 minutes. You find the knife, which again triggers another booby trap, and for the love of God, what is it with this game and booby traps? This has to be the 5th time now.
One time is funny, 2 times it's fucking annoying, no?
At least we get a cool scene with the roof is starting to come down to crush you, you crawl out and it's kind of cool QTE event, and as usual there is... Wait a minute, where is Buck? Yeah, this time no Buck is waiting for you. Huh. So Buck calls you and tells you to come to his house, which was located close to the shantytown all along. You hand over the knife and get the key down to the cellar where Keith is located. And let's just say, Keith is not the same person as he was in the flashbacks, where he was confident and macho. Instead, he quivers in a fetal position, panicking when you touch him. Keith is especially vulnerable, and he just wants to get out of there, as he makes Jason promise him he will get him out of there. Buck comes down, and oh my god, he's not wearing any pants. What the hell is going on here? Buck would make the booty warrior look like a rookie.
Now, I tell you what, I like you, and I want you. Now we can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. The choice is yours.
Well, let's just say he never intended to uphold the deal, as he wants both Jason and Keith. And it's probably just that Buck has been edged long enough now and he can't wait to have Jason all for himself. Now you suddenly disappear into this disco floor setting, which is probably inside Jason's mind as how he handles these types of situations. Buck really feels confident that he can kill Jason, but he does not know that he has accidentally, through all of those live endearing trials to get the knife, that Jason has become much stronger. So the fight is more or less a QTE event where you press the corresponding buttons showing up on the screen, and I know many people dislike this. I kinda like it. The issue with making bosses in FPS games is how you kill them, because either they are killed in cutscenes or they are bullet sponges that take over 100 bullets to kill, or they just stand on a platform and they will spawn infinite ads until you kill them all. So I kinda like this QTE boss fight compared to the other options. And the fact that it's playing out in Jason's psyche is giving us more insight into Jason's mind and his path towards insanity. So you manage to overpower Buck and you deal the final blow to him by shoving the artifact knife into his heart. And interestingly enough, Jason is not cracking any one-liners here. He is visually shaken by having killed Buck, probably due to the adrenaline and the fact that he was in a difficult position and Buck was a difficult opponent. But I personally think it's due to the fact that we see how the whole room kinda disappears and only what's close to Jason and in front of Jason, which was Buck, while everything else fades away. It's as if Jason is hyper focused on Buck only and kinda blacks out on everything else, and this is why Jason is shaking, because he can't fully remember what actually just happened. And we will see this happen multiple times throughout the game. And what's a little bit scary now is that Jason seems to care more about the knife than Keith. And it's quite heartbreaking how broken Keith is. So Jason decides to take him back to the cave. You are presented with yet another quote from Alice in Wonderland, how it's trying to justify Jason killing. He has killed more people than Buzz and Hoyt, but he is doing it out of a noble goal or cause. First and foremost to save his friends, while Buzz and Hoyt kills people for fun, necessity or just cruelty. But again, what's the morality of killing another person? Can it be for a good or bad reason, or is it the same in the end? Keith is saying how he's unable to come to terms with what has happened and probably suffers from PTSD for good reasons. Jason still believes in him and that he can overcome this just as he has overcome and everything else that has happened to him on the island. After they get Riley back, they can go back to Santa Monica, but Keith reveals that Riley is dead. However, I think Keith is lying here because he just wants to get off the island as quickly as possible, and going after Riley will make it take longer. We know Riley is alive because we saw him back in the vision before. I'm gonna assume Keith saw him get shot and assumed he died. Jason, not knowing he's alive, completely loses it because now he has lost both of his brothers, especially his little brother whom he was supposed to protect.
They killed him. Boss and Hoyt, those motherfuckers. Wasn't one brother enough? I'll get them. All of them. I swear.
And now he has no more friends that need saving, so they should get out of here, right? Jason wants and needs revenge on Vaz and Hoyt for doing all of this. And this dialogue is all inside Jason's head, as Liza, who stands next to him, does not react. She notices that something is wrong just by looking at his face, and again, Jason does not cry or even grieve anymore when he reveals that Riley is dead. Liza wants him to slow down and process all of this and let her take care of him. Jason bursts out in anger how he does not want to remember, he only wants the fast to go away, and how Liza is reminding him of the current situation and how the former Jason would break down and cry. When talking with Daisy about the knife you found, Jason is clearly bragging about its importance and how it's the key to saving all of them.
What's that?
Oh, this? This is from the tomb of a Chinese warrior.
Well, if I were you, I'd get rid of it.
Why? This knife is going to save us.
Don't let the pretty design fool you. Knives take people away. They don't bring them back.
Foreshadowing at its finest. You get the third and last flashback to before the game takes place, where you're now on the dance floor doing Mr. Roboto, and suddenly the punks from the bathroom, which Keith was trying to start a fight with, starts attacking you and the gang. You knock your guy out and you all escape into the service elevator where Jason introduces the gang to the DJ of the place, and he proposes that the gang should go to a place where they can do anything. Grant, however, is a bit hesitant, but everyone else seems on board and he reluctantly agrees. It has been revealed though that Doug is a spotter for Vaz who baits rich kids into coming to Rook Island. After leaving the cave, Jason makes his way back to the temple to hand over the knife to Citra. Dennis is there and interestingly enough here, he holds out his hands to take the knife from Jason, but he's interrupted when Citra comes. So yeah, Dennis probably wanted to be the one presenting the knife to Citra, as you know, he's a simp for her. Jason hands over the knife to Citra and she asks Jason to follow him, and she leads him into the inner temple and asks him what's motivating him. Citra is clearly manipulating Jason, wanting him to yearn for revenge and motivate him into killing more of her enemies, a tool that can be used. She goes over the origin story of the Rakyat and how the island was created when a legendary warrior slew the demon and its head formed Rook Island. She wants you to rescue some of their warriors, but after leaving the temple, Dennis suddenly arrives, being in a state of hurry as the Rakyat warriors that Citra mentioned are being transferred in a truck, and Dennis and the Rakyat warriors are going there to free them. So you plant some C4, though you know, that's just a stick of dynamite on top of each other. And then when running towards a vantage point, Liza suddenly calls you and tells Jason that the boat is nearly finished and if he's coming back. Jason assures them he's coming back. But he should be happy, right? Since now they can finally get off the island, which has been the main goal throughout the game, especially since all of his friends are saved. Riley is seemingly dead, so there's nothing else holding him back from leaving, but Jason has become so consumed with revenge and how he actually enjoys killing people. Jason is no longer justifying his killing to save his friends. He's now fully killing due to revenge. And while it's true that they don't understand what Jason is going through, because his friends are not experiencing the jungle like he is, they're not seeing what he's seeing, they're not feeling what he's feeling. They all hide in a cave trying to keep their minds away from the jungle, actively hiding instead of embracing it like Jason. Oliver is just trying to get high, and just like Earnhardt is trying to escape the real world with drugs. And this comes off really well when you talk to him in the cave and he mentions how his parents are rich as hell, but they were always traveling and did not really pay attention to him. So a lot of what he's doing is to get attention. Liza is the adult one and holds the moral pass in the group, and she is the one who is acting most normal out of the group, and she wants Jason to come back to civilization and just come back to being who Jason normally was. Daisy has her mind filled with escaping the island and fixing the boat. Keith is, well, you know, messed up in the head after what he experienced and is unwilling to overcome his trauma caused by Buck. Jason is the only person of the group who is taking action and actively embracing the jungle, the path, while everyone else hides. Of course, it's taking a huge toll on his mental state since he's becoming a more seasoned killer after killing becomes easier and easier for him. It makes him stronger, sure, but he's losing his grip on morality and reality. So after ambushing the trucks and setting off the dynamite, you chase down the prisoner transport in a car, and when you open the doors...
Hey Jason, you miss me?
And we get probably the most quoted scene from the game.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
Right, so before we continue, I want to make it clear to everyone that I'm well aware that there is more information regarding Vaz and Citra since the Vaz DLC released in Far Cry 6. There was also a comic that came out around the same time which tells you more about Vaz, and it's okay-ish. However, The issue I find with new information like this, especially if it's made after such a long time since the original came out, it removes a lot of the mystery and theories. And furthermore, it kinda feels like Ubisoft wanted to milk out some money on these free DLCs. Because I believe it was around 20 euros per DLC at release, so you know that's 60 bucks in total if you want Vaz, Pagan Ming and Joseph Seed content. This video, however, will only be about what's on Far Cry 3, since I believe the DLC did a lot of retcon. It was almost made 10 years after the Far Cry 3's release, so I'm going to avoid it in this video. Now, I think I put down around 18-ish hours into the game. Vaz is in the game for around 15 to 20 minutes. Now, many people say Vaz was underutilized, but I personally believe that's precisely why he's such a great character. It's quality over quantity. He stands out so much in the game because he's not in it that much, and when he shows up in the game, he takes over the screen in every scene. I would probably compare it a little bit to horror movies and games where the more you see the monster, the less scared you become because you get used to it. Though the fact that Ubisoft has done this formula in every single Far Cry game almost, where it's hours on hours of gameplay and then one cutscene with main bad guy, rinse and repeat. And this cycle kinda pissed me off a little bit because I would like Ubisoft to make one Far Cry game where the main villain is in the majority of the game, just to see if it's any good or not.
Hello, welcome to my show.
Now Vaz is clearly the best part of the game, and he's the most famous aspect of Far Cry 3. Ubisoft had such faith in his performance that they put Vaz as the game's cover instead of Jason, who is the main character. And before we continue more with Vaz's characterization and theory, we need to look back a little bit at the developments. Initially, the game's primary villain was named Bull, a bald and muscular man similar to a 306-foot tall bull mastiff dog. The character was later redesigned after Michael Mando auditioned for the role. But Mando in his audition went completely in the opposite direction that the developers wanted, and he did not get the role, obviously, because he did not perform to the role he was supposed to do. But a few weeks later, Ubisoft called him back and told him they were going to create a whole new character from scratch and how the game would be made around Vaz.
And obviously, I did not get the part, but I get a call a few weeks later saying, Ubisoft liked your audition so much, they're creating this small character based on the audition you had done. The character is going to look like you.
Vaz is what happens to everyone on the island when they go completely crazy. He's trying to stave off the insanity with drugs, violence, or whatever he can find. And yes, I have seen the video regarding how Jason is Vaz, etc. Sure, and he is the main trigger for transforming Jason from this pretty white boy to a mass killer who is starting to become more like Vaz. Vaz just completely owns the screen since the first cutscene, and he just berates you and Grant for no reason other than to antagonize you. And he hates people who disrespects him. They released a 5-part series called The Far Cry Experience, where Michael Mando is in full costume in a sort of a dark comedy vibe.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, hey! Okay, hey! Shut up! Don't cry! Okay? Do not beg! The choices you have made in your life have brought you here. Man, back up a little bit, it's gonna blow up.
Oh.
Back up.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, be quiet, let me focus!
Of course, it's a bit cheaper as they can't really do all the stuff they do in game, but it follows a knockoff Bear Grylls who's filming a nature survival documentary on the island when they suddenly stumble upon Vaz, who is chasing Bambi.
Bambi! I'm sorry I shot your mama, Bambi! Bambi!
He also has a horse.
Oh, fuck. Hold up, I think my horse needs a break.
Overall, it's great entertainment, I suggest you watch it, but there is a cool Easter egg with the guy's head that you can find as it's promoted in the box art.
Hermano, put your fucking gun down. I'm not your fucking hermano. That's a subjective philosophy.
But it's during the ballerina dance sequence when you are trapped with Liza where he actually starts to open up about himself. And he has a very complicated relationship with his sister. He's also not pleased to see Jason with the same tattoos, as even though he intends to kill Citra, he still sees himself as part of the Rakyat. He sounds desperate. How he, just like Dennis and Jason, would do anything for Citra at one point in his life, but it was never ever enough for her. It sounds like Vas, stuck at an impasse after having been pressured by Citra, as Vas says.
Enough for her. No, please. You see, the thing about our loved ones, right? Our fucking loved ones! They come and they blindside you every fucking time. So they say to me, they say, Vas, who the fuck is it going to be? Them or me? Me or them? like, you know, like they fucking think that I need to make a fucking choice.
And it seems that Citra did something to Vas that he did not see coming. And I think that Vas found out is what would happen to him if he continued on the same path as Jason is currently on to become the greatest warrior. He would end up like Jason does at the end of the bad ending. You can tell Vas is someone that really cares about family, even though he says,
I'm gonna drive a bullet through my sister's skull, like I did your brother Grant.
He brings it up in so many different conversations, almost like he's obsessed with family. And the them or me dialogue is quite a foreshadowing, as Jason has to make the exact same choice in the end of the game, and with the mirror or duality theory that Jason and Vas are pretty much the same people, yeah, I can kinda see it. And although he is unhinged most of the time, he's seemingly normal and more clear in speech and tone when he's interacting with Hoyt around, really respecting him or fearing him.
Lovely weather we're having. My boss, are you planning a parade? That's why I love you, Voss. You make me laugh. Everything in business is so goddamn serious. But you, sir, what about Snow White? You know what? I don't give a fuck about him. I don't give a fuck. Really? Then why am I here? Once you've got the ransom money, his friends are gonna be so like that. I shot his older brother. I did what you wanted with his younger brother. He's my sister. She's inking that white boy. I don't give a fuck about your family. It is by my grace that your head isn't impaled on the antenna of my car. Therefore, I would like it if you gave a fuck about Jason Brody. Okay, Hoyt. Okay. All right.
And I think this is the true Vas, especially before he became crazy due to all the drugs. It's as if he's putting up a show to intimidate anyone around him and who sees him, because otherwise he would be killed, because he knows weakness means death. Vas never lies to you. Citra lies her ass off a ton of times with you. The interesting part, however, is how Vas does not have the tattoo. He has no scars from removing it. He's super offended because the tattoo that Jason has reminds him of Citra, so he wants to burn Jason until there's no trace left behind of him. Vas is a byproduct of Citra. She made him into who he is, pressuring him more and more until he reached the breaking point. And then there is the famous insanity speech. It's the most famous scene from the game, and it's just so damn quotable, where he speaks about the insanity of doing the same thing over and over again, knowing it's not gonna change the outcome. And it's true, because throughout the game, killing pirates, animals, side quests, it won't progress the main story, it's just circles of mindless actions. Completing all the upgrades will make most of the side activities worthless and boring. Jason has throughout his life had no meaning to it. He tries to actively run away from taking responsibility. He travels from place to place doing outrageous adrenaline pumping action, but he refuses to face reality that he needs to grow up and take control over his life. The cycle he was in before he came to the island was just like Vas said, doing the same thing over and over again expecting things to change. And here on the island, Jason finally has a purpose, or at least he thinks so. The ironic thing though is how Vas makes the speech while he is already under its spell, repeating his sentences a lot, and it's also quite fascinating how Vas trying to kill Jason is more or less the definition of insanity, because he has tried it 4 times throughout the game already, and he has tried 4 different methods.
This time is gonna be different. No, please. This time is gonna be different. I'm sorry. I don't like the way you are looking at me. Okay? You have a fucking problem in your head.
After escaping, again, you get seemingly killed by Vas, again, though this time he's much calmer, and man, this line fits perfectly.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
And this is Vas's 4th attempt on your life. But wait a minute. The first time Vas tried to kill you, Jason should have died due to the fall from the bridge, which is air. And second, he was going to let you die by fire. And the third time, he was going to let water drown Jason. And lastly, earth, that we just saw. Though you could argue that the bullet and gun is made out of metal, which is basically the Earth's element, you know, please don't shoot me. So you know, yeah, this whole process confirms that Jason is the Avatar. Alright, jokes aside, if you're going to kill someone, headshots or double taps are your friend. We are presented with another quote from Alice in Wonderland. Everyone on Rook Island is at least a little bit crazy. But also how Jason is going after Vas, even though his friends have already finished the boat and they can all go home, yet he still came to try and kill Vas multiple times. Just like there are good people and bad people, it affects them differently. Even the loading screen menus show Jason's mental state with words such as hunt, tatau, kill, mom, game, taste, and the same words in reverse. But it feels like these are just primal feelings. The main menu shows every character like a mirror, which is a main theme of the game, especially the duality between Jason and Vas. How Jason is slowly becoming more unhinged and more like Vas in general. Vas has now tried to kill Jason 4 times. But you survive and seemingly have to climb through a heap of bodies using your trigger buttons to slowly crawl out. And Dennis is completely stunned at how you are alive until you pull out the lighter that Vas put in your pocket earlier in the game, which blocked the bullet. Nice one, Ubisoft. Jason heads back to the temple and meets with Citra, who gives Jason a final test to drink from a goblet which is said to kill the weak and only the strongest will survive it. And if you succeed, you will gain the power to kill Vas. And if you remember the last time he drank from the goblet, Jason hesitated and showed fear, even though that was just a non-lethal drink. But this time around, he does not even question drinking from the goblet, even though he knows it's poisoned and it can kill him. Jason has started to remove all doubt and fear from himself. Hell, he's barely afraid of dying anymore. You slumber into a dreamlike world again, where it's nighttime and a huge demon with a mask, just like the one Citra told you about earlier in the story, where you hear Citra's voice in the background telling Jason in his mind how his senses are clouded by others, how he has always walked their paths instead of his own. And again, I have said it so many times, it's just ironic and so manipulative by Citra as she's making Jason walk her path at the moment. The boss fight is actually quite fun, as you are equipped with a bow and explosive arrows and you must dodge the incoming attacks while shooting at the mask of the demon. Jason finally downs it and goes up to the body to cut off the head, while Citra is reciting the story of how the island was created. And yeah, let's just say that a lot of streamers panicked when this scene started.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
While Jason was asleep, Another row of the tattoo has been engraved on his arm, and now Jason can master any skill, showing how Jason is so close to becoming the perfect warrior who has mastered everything. Citra keeps on feeding Jason's ego. She makes killing sound like something so trivial, and how people who Jason kills deserve to die, and how it would even be an honor. Further desensitizing Jason and the killings. She has prepared him to free the Rakyat and the island by sending him to kill Vas. Vas ambushes you when you try to sneak into his compound.
Surprise, motherfucker! You didn't think I knew you were coming, right? I am so disappointed! You showed so much promise, Jason!
Vas screams at Jason how much potential he had. He's angry with Jason because you have been led here by Citra and is coming after him on her orders. He continues by saying how Citra turns people into rats. And he's not really wrong, as everyone around her obeys all of her orders. Dennis and Jason are running to the tune of the flute. What's interesting is when you are storming the base, he says Jason should be thanking him because he's gonna free his soul. And I think this is due to the fact that after saving all of your friends and killing Vas, Jason should be free from Citra, as he no longer has any personal grudge since all of his main goals are finished. After making it into the last room, Jason is seemingly stabbed by Vas in the stomach with... Wait a minute, the knife of Citra? How did he get the knife of Citra? It was last seen with Citra after Jason used the knife to kill the giant monster demon in the fever dream, and when he handed it off after getting it from Buck. I'm just gonna consider it that Jason is completely fine after being stabbed by Vas. I'm just gonna assume that he entered his own mind battle before Vas stabbed him or something, and this was only in his mind. Because we see this odd yellow glow coming from the knife, and the blood is instead yellow, and after this whole ordeal is done, Jason is not damaged. We are transported into this place where TV screens are formed everywhere with eye symbols all over them, where we hear Citra ask Jason what kind of man he is. What's interesting is how throughout the game we see Jason and Vas shift positions with each other. They are very similar to each other, as both were on and are on Citra's path to become the ultimate warrior. Vas sees himself as the center of the world, as all eyes are on him. So there is something really essential about eyes when it comes to Vas, from the intro where he wants Grant to look at him, and how he does not like how Jason is looking at him at the ravine. And then there is the whole layout of the base where you see this giant eye symbol on the main door, and furthermore all of the televisions in the Vas boss fight have eyes on them. And when it comes to Vas, and the line how he's the balancing point of the world, it's more or less how he sees the world, how he is the center of it, but also the center of attention, literally and figuratively. Because again, all of the promotional material from the game was mostly upon Vas. All eyes are on him. Vas starts taunting Jason, but in a much different tone. It's so soft compared to the over-aggressive, over-the-top behavior we have seen before so many times, where he seemingly wants Jason to kill him. It's also this dialogue how he wants it all to end, and put our gun against his head. And you know which scene this reminds me of?
You are so close to the end. Come on! End it!
Nice foreshadowing, Ubisoft. I would probably say that this shows the future, present and past, with Vas being the future event, Buck and Keith the present, and Hoyt and Riley the past. And so again, it goes with this notion that Vas wants Jason to kill him because he wants to be freed from his sins, or that he knows that with his death that Jason will be able to leave the island because he does not want Jason to suffer the same fate that Vas would have suffered if he would have gone through with the ritual and Citra. And after this, copies of a Vas starts running towards you that you need to kill, probably symbolizing how Vas is actively trying to change Jason, but he's able to defend himself. Vas also seems willing to die as a martyr of some sort, as he starts to shout out different Bible verses. And there is no real QTE fight with Vas. He has no weapon on him and kinda accepts being killed by Jason. And again, like, he wants to die. He doesn't even defend himself, only using his arms to block while he dodges His facial expression when being stabbed seems to be relief. Though we get one last scene.
Citra, I won.
And no, it's not the theories of Vas still being alive, which to me is just stupid. Again, Vas opening his eyes is in Jason's mind, showing how Vas is not truly dead now because he's now inside of Jason, well, or a part of him. Because, well, Jason has changed into something else and this is due to Vas. So, he will live on forever within Jason. We get another Alice in Wonderland quote where it's more or less how Jason is starting to question who he really is. He's not sure if going back to the outside world is the correct choice anymore, or if staying with Citra is the correct choice. He's at an impasse. Now, Vas was by no means a good person, having killed a ton of innocent people, selling them into slavery or worse. He killed Grant for seemingly no reason and has tried to kill you 4 times now. But I still believe there is another one who is the true villain of Far Cry 3. I think the real villain here is Citra. Now, Citra has also been affected by the jungle, and she tries to stave off from the insanity of the jungle, and she has become obsessed with traditions and myths where it starts to trump reality. She has willingly and intentionally groomed Jason into a killer or a warrior and to become the perfect warrior so she can bear a child that will be the ultimate warrior later on. She's lying to Jason throughout the game. She kidnaps your friends and wants Jason to actively murder them. And Earnhardt got killed. She drugs you multiple times and she more or less roofies you and sexually harass or even rape Jason. Twice. I think that Vas knew what would happen to him, as Citra says Vas left his birthright, which was to become the ultimate warrior, which would end up having sex with Citra and how he would be killed. And it's probably one of the main reasons as to why Vas left the Rakyat. And we see this in the Vas boss fight. You know, when Jason is grinding Citra, the screen flashes and replaces Vas with Jason, and we see Vas and Citra on top of each other. It's also important to note that when Jason was hallucinating, Vas said to Jason,
"Are you enjoying my sister's company? Huh? She's gonna make a warrior out of you. You're so fucked, Jason."
And after Jason wakes up, Vas says in Jason's mind,
"She's gonna make a warrior out of you." You're so fucked, Jason.
So again, you know, Vas was reborn into Jason like he was saying right before Jason killed him. After seemingly killing Vas, Jason wakes up back at the temple with Citra praising you for your victory, with Vas still speaking in your mind. Jason is now truly under Citra's control, and he's on the path to become the ultimate warrior and its inevitable ending. Citra does not really grieve about Vas's death, and more or less puts the blame on Hoyt for luring Vas away with money and drugs. Jason swears he will kill Hoyt for Citra, and he will also stay on the island and let his friends leave without him. And again now, Citra has Jason completely under his fingertip, making him do whatever she wants. Jason now also leaving his friends, he has nothing left holding him behind from becoming the ultimate warrior that Citra wants him to be. Furthermore, this is also when Jason has fulfilled his 2 primary drives as to what he's doing, saving his friends and killing Vas. Going after Hoyt is not on his own volition of will, but instead Citra is the one who persuades or manipulates Jason into going after him. Sure, you could rationalize that Hoyt is the main reason as to why the rot that has infested Island. And he created Vas, he hired Buck, and he let the pirates and privateers loose on the island to plunder and do whatever they want. But Jason never even ponders this, he just wants to do what Citra says. Dennis is close and seems to be celebrating, well, because Vas is dead, but he's clearly drunk and expresses his insecurities, how he came to America as an immigrant and was great at his job, but he was disrespected and discriminated against, saying how Citra has now freed him. But you know, again, he's more restricted than ever, because the only thing he does now is doing what Citra tells him. He has no more freedom anymore. After breaking the news to your friends about how you won't be leaving, they all react differently. Oliver wants to stay as well with the doctor because, you know, drug buddies, but Jason talks him out of it. Keith is all about that Wall Street hustle. Jason explains to Liza how staying here is what he wants, and for the first time in his life he makes a real decision. Liza of course is glad that Jason has finally grown up, but at the same time leaving her. And Jason does not really show any feelings towards this, and does not even give her a heartfelt goodbye. He had a lot of energy, and he showed a lot of happiness when he said he was going to stay.
I'm not going.
What?
What are you talking about?
I found my place. It's here, on this island.
Jason, are you serious?
For the first time, I know exactly what I want, and I'm not gonna let it slip away.
But completely switches his voice when it's not about him anymore, and how Liza is trying to make him come back.
You are all grown up. I've been waiting for this forever, and now you're leaving me.
Goodbye, Lisa.
Citra and the jungle's influence has completely taken over Jason. Let's do a comparison here. It's a spoiler for Breaking Bad, but there is a scene towards the end of the show where Walter White talks to his wife about why he's making drugs. He has always throughout the show said that it was for his family's sake, but here in this scene he finally confesses that he did it for himself. He liked it. Making a drug product so good and finally being able to take control over his own life for once. And I really like this scene because it's quite similar to what Jason has been doing. All the killings, he has done so because he told himself it was to save his friends. But we see him to start liking killing people. So I would say that Jason, just like Walter White, started off with this noble notion of helping others, but succumbed to their inner darker self, the thing they tried to keep away, and instead started to embrace it. And I think this became apparent when, in the previous optional dialogue, Jason talked to Daisy about how killing is starting to feel like winning. Now, to get over to the South Island where Hoyt resides, you need a flight there, which Wilson can provide, and he's getting off the island as well. He lets you in on some information regarding a fellow agent that he has on the island who will help you deal with Hoyt. He tells you to hum the Star-Spangled Banner at the Crazy Cock Bar to find him. We get another Alice in Wonderland quote, where Alice does no longer feel like herself, and Jason is not the same anymore either. I'm not sure he can ever come back to the old Jason and who he was. It's also a play on the previous dialogue between Jason and Liza, where she can't understand why Jason wants to stay on the island, because their experience have been awful and nothing but pain and suffering, while Jason seems to like it. Jason can't really explain exactly why he wants to stay when he talks with Liza, and what he says is not enough to convince Liza to see his point of view. Or rather, Jason has said they don't understand and they can't understand his feelings. So they will never understand his point of view. So Willis drops him off on the island and gives him a wingsuit, which is awesome because now you can jump off a small cliff and glide, or rather as I say, fall with style. Though I find it a little bit annoying that we get this so late in the game, especially on the South Island, that lacks a lot of mountains and high points, which makes it less, useful compared to the main island, but it's a really cool addition to the game. The South Island it's okay. There are more outposts, bell towers, side quests and activities. The issue, however, is at this stage you probably have some of the best weapons, and the new ones that are unlocked here, they honestly feel a bit lackluster if anything. The new enemies, the privateers, are more difficult to kill and most of them wear armor. And instead of wearing red or being pirates, they now wear yellow and they're privateers and professionals. But there is one new unit, and that's the heavy unit with the flamethrower. After getting into the bar playing poker, again, you whistle the tune. And thank God for Sam, he's easily one of the best supporting characters in the game, and I love stereotypes.
Ready?
Blitzkrieg!
Seriously?
And interestingly enough, he is actually the only character that actually helps Jason without any strings attached. Everyone else has been trying to manipulate Jason throughout the game. So Sam explains Hoyt's operation a bit, and reveals that he even got a promotion due to him being a walking stereotype. He wants to make Jason a part of Hoyt's privateers, and together they will fuck up Hoyt's operations from the inside while gaining his trusts and kill him off. But first, Jason needs to find a privateer's outfit, and this quest sucks. Why not have a quest on the main island? You know, after killing Vas, Hoyt sends in a elite team to try and recapture control of the island, where Jason kills them off. He takes one of their suits and can now traverse the island with ease and just pick up a false identification. Instead, we have to go through sneaking without killing anyone, and you have to play it in a really straightforward way, which is boring and it's super hard for some reason. Anyway, you get to the inner caverns. You kill a guy and takes his suit and ID. A privateer officer offers you a chance to get some extra money to steal from Hoyt, since the operations are now in chaos after Vas's death. Now, I'm gonna say this though. The introduction of Hoyt is quite good.
New employees. I'm not going to lie. We're all here to make a buck. But it's the happiness of my people that gets me up each morning. Bugs. There are only 3 company rules you have to follow. Idiot. First, protect my product. You can fuck them, boys, but be gentle. Second, kill any native on sight. Finally, all profits go to me. I'm an understanding boss. But if you break one of these rules,
He's clearly a ruthless person who only sees money and dollar signs and throws money at any problems he sees, and he wants to control everyone and everything. You know, fun fact though, you actually meet Hoyt in the first cutscene, as he is the one calling Vas over to do something, which I must have missed in my earlier playthroughs. Again, he does a decent introduction, but he does not really stand out and just feels like the average, ooh, look at me, I'm a bad guy. Which we have seen a million times, and this becomes an issue when the first antagonist, Vas, did such a great job, which makes him undermine the last boss. And I think the closest game which did this was Resident Evil Village and Lady D, and she was more or less the promotion for the game, but after she died in the first act, the game turns kinda meh, and the last boss is just nothing compared to Lady D. Ubisoft should have understood that the Vas was such a great villain that we did not need Hoyt. Just focus on Vas and let him be the last boss. It would have made the game so much better. But then again, if that would have happened, we would have probably lost Jason's character development into becoming this warrior who, after having killing Vas and saving his friends, no longer wanna go back, and he just wants to go on killing. So again, Hoyt does serve a purpose for Jason's continued transformation. Now, the suit that you stole provides a lot of benefits, because enemies will no longer attack you out in the open, which is great, right? Only if you attack them or come too close to different outposts, they will attack you. It's great because it minimizes small skirmishes, but it's kinda bad because you don't have much to do in terms of combat anymore, and running will instead be your main activity. The next few missions are all about sabotaging Hoyt's operations with Sam, where you kill off the pirates that are trying to steal from Hoyt. And this is the last mission where you will see the pirates, as they are effectively eliminated after this mission. Rest in peace, STD pirates. You were the greatest. You're also going to kill the privateers within Hoyt's army who are trying to steal from him and not give Hoyt his cut. So you go around killing these traitors around ancient ruins and taking pictures of their bodies, which are then transferred to Sam, who will provide the intel to Hoyt, but he will always give you the credits to gain Hoyt's trust. You finally get a meeting with Hoyt, and it's a great cutscene where Hoyt asks Jason about what his interests are.
So, Hobbies? Cooking, painting, movies, crystal meth. What are yours?
I like to hunt.
But also, he's quite scary because he's actually the only normal person in the game except for your friends. He's not insane like so many other characters we have met. He's calculating, cruel, and cold, but he also rewards good behavior. The reason why the jungle has not affected Hoyt is because he's not in the jungle. The South Islands, although close to the main islands, lacks vegetation and a jungle. Hence Hoyt has managed to isolate himself from the jungle on this island. He gives a great monologue about trading and shipping, how it has become globalized. And it's the classic, put on the classic music to the sound of an exploding ship full of hostages. He might be the most sane person on the island, but he's still the most evil person we have met, as he has no morals when it comes to profit. Now, he wants to give you a real test. There is a prisoner down in the basement and he asks you to go down and find out who the prisoner is and who his benefactors are. Sam will come with you to make sure you're doing the correct job. But Hoyt is also going to be monitoring you, as yeah, he's quite sadistic. He wants to see a show. When you arrive in the basement, you can see the tape from the intro being played on a nearby TV. And this is actually really cool, and a detail I have no idea some people found. There are some flickering during the tape, and if you slow down the video and look at some of the screenshots between the static, you get this image. Oh man, baby, this is major foreshadowing here. So, the person you are going to torture, plot twist, it's your brother, and yeah, Riley lives. It's a great scene where Jason has to fake the interrogation while beating the living shit out of Riley, making it look realistic.
Who have I become?
And you can tell Jason is not going soft on Riley with punches and a finger into his bullet wound. But when he hears Riley sobbing while looking at his bloody hands, and this scene is so essential to Jason because this is the first time for a long period of time that he has shown any emotions whatsoever aside from rage. Riley, being alive, has dragged Jason back from Citra's grip on him, and he is now more focused on getting Riley to safety than killing Hoyt. But Sam convinces Jason that Hoyt must die before they can save Riley. We are provided with the last Alice in Wonderland quote, and it more or less asks the player if they have been listening and understood the story and moral so far, but it's also important to see that the more Jason is delving into insanity and losing himself, we see certain words during these quotes change, where it can be anything from everything has a moral if you can kill, fuck, or find it, showing how animalistic Jason's psyche has become. Now, you do another few quests with Sam where you kill and sabotage the rest of Hoyt's operation, and this includes blowing up a huge radio antenna, killing more of his agents. These are kinda meh. Nothing special except for the last mission where you have to drive Sam, who is in the turret, to 4 different locations and set off a C4, and if Sam dies, you get a game over.
Finally, after all these years,
And this mission was rough, because I did not know if I should kill every enemy here or drive just straight through them and plant the C4. But when I did that, Sam got killed because we got overwhelmed, so I ended up killing pretty much anything that moved before destroying all the locations. Fortunately, the game has a great autosave system. For example, saving each time you destroyed one of these locations with C4, so you don't lose much progression dying here. Sam had talked previously about baiting Hoyt into a poker game, which would be the perfect opportunity to kill him. When you meet up with him outside the compound, and you get this, are you sure you want to progress this? Because you won't be able to do anything else until you have finished the game. And at the poker game, you can clearly see that Hoyt is taking all of these sabotages and setbacks badly, since he is much more passive-aggressive compared to earlier. When Sam gives you the eyes, you know, the signal and trigger word to kill Hoyt, another plot twist. Sam gets a knife shoved down his throat because Hoyt knew about the setup all along. Now, from what I have read, we don't really know when Hoyt found out that Foster, Jason's cover name, was Jason. There are theories from he knew it from the start, but I find that quite unbelievable, as why would Hoyt let Jason destroy half his operation before doing something about it? I think it was either when Jason hesitated when he saw Riley, or he probably found out about you because, oh look, this really promising new recruit that was unheard of at the same time all this shit started to go wrong appeared. But I think the most likely fact is that he saw the video recording of Jason and the gang, the one down in the basement, and you can hear Jason's voice there, so you're putting 2 and 2 together. It was pretty obvious that Foster was Jason. You know, nevertheless, it's up for your own interpretation. So with Sam dead, the poker game continues. What's interesting is how Hoyt is willing to forgive Jason for all the shit he has done for his operation. All he wants to hear is a price. Jason refuses because he will not sell himself to Hoyt, and Hoyt does not trust a person who has no price, as it breaks his worldview of how everything and every person has a price. And in a not so subtle way, the poker bet has been replaced with betting your life on each hand. It's scripted, whatever you do won't matter here. And after losing, Hoyt cuts off your ring finger, nice Assassin's Creed reference there, Ubisoft. And a boss fight starts, which is more or less, you know, a copy-paste of the QTE Buck boss fights, where you do some pretty cool knife tricks and kill Hoyt. But in your rage, when you snap back to reality, the whole room is now filled with enemy bodies, which even Jason is surprised by. It's as if he enters these dreams or hallucinations automatically and loses consciousness while inside them. Also notice how much more violent every kill in the boss fight is, with Buck only being stabbed once in the stomach, Vaz multiple stomach wounds, and Hoyt just getting completely fucked up. Furthermore, the reason why Jason reacts so greatly is due to him completely zoning out of the situation, and that scares him. It's kinda like if you are smashed drunk and you wake up somewhere where you're not supposed to be and you can't even remember what happened. It's in these sequences where Jason is literally losing his sanity and losing himself. You're on a timer to get to Riley at the nearby airfield. You find him by just listening to his voice and, you know, the obvious big red door. You both enter a helicopter, which Riley can barely fly, you know, he has a pilot's license, but you know, it's for planes, not helicopters. And you know, I like this scene. It's pretty much, you know, the last gameplay section of the game with Ride of the Valkyries playing in the background while you kill everything that moves and comes after you. Jason is throwing out a ton of one-liners once again, and just revels in the destruction and killing. He's acting just like in the car chase with Liza again. I don't think Riley is reacting to Jason doing all of this because he's too busy and focused on flying the damn helicopter, which he can barely keep in the air. So you manage to make it out and you decide to go back to your friends, so you fly back to Earnhardt's. And the whole place on fire. Earnhardt has been injured and is close to death, but in his last breath he reveals that Citra took your friends to the temple. He sadly passed away afterwards. Again, it's a shame how underutilized this character was because he did a great performance. After making it to the temple to confront Citra as to why she has taken your friends, she used some drugs once again to knock Jason out, or rather, put him in the dreamlike state once again, trying to take over his mind once again. And man, Jason's getting roofied way too many times in this game. Now, Citra sees Jason as perfect. Why would he want to go back the way he used to be? She blames herself for letting you live with these burdens, and yeah, she is saying your friends are burdens that needs to be cleansed. It's rather interesting though how Jason has become so much better than he used to be. Sure, he has become stronger in the physical and some of the mental aspects, but at the same time, he has lost the empathy that made him human. Not being able to feel sadness, guilt, and the only emotions he has left are either rage or just being confident all the time. Jason frees himself and is starting to walk the path of the warrior, with Citra's voice in the background, and it's more or less reminding you of your journey and everything you have done to get here. You start to have visions where Liza starts taking away everything you have become, and all your progress starting with taking away your knife that you worked so hard for, while belittling Jason how he probably shot Vas in the back. She burns away all of your tattoos, all the experience points and skills you have earned.
Carrying all these weapons and doing all these weird tattoos. You think you're a warrior because you collected those tattoos on your arm? I'm deleting them, Jason!
And lastly, we see how Liza, or two of them, are wearing the same mask or head that the demon that you killed earlier has. And she takes away everything, the Rakyat, the island, everything now. But the ink monster you fought previously was not a representation of Vas. Since it's a mask, anyone can wear it. Everyone who is not with the Rakyat is the enemy. So more or less Citra wants you to cut off the head of Liza, just like you did with the ink monster. Citra and the game is telling you how you are nothing without your weapons, nothing without your tattoos, and if you would leave, you would just go back to being ordinary Jason. You would be no one, nothing once again. Citra hands Jason the knife back, and you are given a choice between saving your friends or joining Citra and becoming the ruler of the island. And we all know there's only one clear choice.
What's it gonna be, Kyle? You have to decide. Tits or destiny?
Nah, but for real, for many the endings are a bit lackluster as 1. It's clearly bad and punishes the player for wanting tits and living their power fantasy as you get Citra, but she kills you and you were only a sperm donor and now the cycle will continue once again. You know, Citra only loved one part of Jason, the warrior part. She did not love all of Jason. She fell in love with the Jason not for who he was, but for the warrior that he has become and the promise of conceiving the perfect warrior with him. Now, initially when I wrote the script, I thought this ending was stupid, but after pondering over it for a few days, I actually think the endings are tied perfectly into the story, as you either continue the cycle of insanity or break it off permanently. Yes, it's more or less a good versus evil ending, but the game does punish people who have not paid attention to the story. They get sex with Citra and killed because they did not heed or listen to the story. Well, for once I understood it better now because I'm older and I got smarter, but I think it was due to me actually taking in the time analyzing the cutscenes and especially Jason's descent into madness. And again, you know, the main theme of the game has been the most famous quote being the definition of insanity. By joining Citra, you are just doing the same thing the Rakyat people and their tradition demands. The cycle will continue even after Jason is dead, but choosing your friends will break the cycle of insanity. So the other ending, or good ending, breaking the cycle, starts with Jason releasing his friends, with Citra begging Jason to stay with her and how he's given up on everything. Dennis suddenly comes out of nowhere and like the White Knight is, he tries to kill Jason for declining Citra. But Citra jumps in the way and is stabbed instead, and she says her last words to Jason.
I love you. Don't leave me.
I'm sorry.
Again, after seeing the other ending, Citra saying she loves Jason, but not all of Jason, just the warrior. Jason leaves, with Dennis completely broken, asking Citra for forgiveness for what he has done. Dennis was by no means innocent. He was also a part of this. He groomed Jason into becoming this thing. He probably kidnapped Jason's friends, or probably told them the location of them, since Dennis was the only one who knew their location after his phone calls with Jason. And we get some of the best writing here, when we see Jason and his friends finally leaving the island on a boat.
I've killed so many people I've lost count. I can't come back from this. I'm a monster. I can feel the anger inside me. But I am still somewhere inside me more than that. Better than that.
And this ending quote by Jason is so powerful and explains everything he has become, but also what he still is. But sometime the party has to end, because here is the thing, when a player finishes the game, they will stop playing it. Some will continue, but the majority will not be started for a couple of years at least. And I think there's only one correct ending here, because it's the hardest ending for Jason, because for the first time in the game and in his life, Jason takes accountability for what he has done. But the most essential part is Jason deciding to break the cycle, which no one else has ever done before him. And he ultimately beat the island and everything it stood for. Yes, he will never be able to go back to the person he was before he came to the island, but he managed to make one of the hardest decisions ever, giving up all of his power to become something better. So now, throughout everything I have talked about, the symbolism, Jason's perfect character arc from innocent to stone cold killer, inner workings of the mind, the question is, why did all of this fly over my head the first time I played the game? Now, the writer of Far Cry 3 actually complained that critics and the player base completely missed the point of the game. And alright, I was almost done with writing the scripts for the review when I started looking up the lead writer and how he responded to the audience reception regarding the story. I read 2 articles from Kotaku and Polygon which heavily criticized the game and its story, but some of the topics are just ridiculous. They both complain about the so-called white savior trope, colonialism, and sexual exploitation. Oh, no. Not towards Jason, by the way, but Jason towards Citra. Yeah, imagine what has gone through their heads to get that connection. The white savior trope, where a white guy saves the day, and even the damsel in distress. I don't know if they mean saving Liza or Daisy, but you also save Oliver, Keith, and Riley, so that can't be it. Citra, did these people even play the same game? Citra was always the one in position of power over Jason throughout the game. Jason was constantly groomed throughout the whole game because she wanted him to be something else. She roofied him multiple times and even raped him. This is why I will never understand people who thought Far Cry 3 was racist, or as some people typed, mighty whitey. Jason is manipulated by everyone and used the whole game by Citra, Dennis, the Rakyat, just everyone. Everyone wanted something from Jason and they played him. And in the end, he barely escapes the island with major PTSD, or he is killed by Citra after she's finished with you. But, sure, we can even expand this and delve a little bit deeper into the white savior trope then. Okay, so why is Jason so great at everything and why not the Rakyat warriors? And this is probably because they just missed the point. There is a debate about nature or nurture and what's more important. You know, why did Jason survive Vas when he was just a weak, rich, spoiled brat while his more competent brother Grant died? What makes Jason different that he is the one who survived instead? And it's probably because he was the one who had the potential to change the most. The only reason why Jason is so powerful is because he started off so weak. No one of the Rakyat has ever been like Jason, weak or vulnerable. Jason became so strong after having survived dozens of life-threatening situations. It also seems to be possible because Jason has somewhat of a calling to the island. Remember the scene when he finds the compass and he can see the glow while Buck can't? Jason has some form of connection to the jungle. It could also be that the only people with the Tatau can see it. I'm sorry, but when basic post-colonial theory 101 from game journalists comes up, I tend to lose a little bit. So again, journalists have never changed. They will just spout out the weirdest shit without having any idea about it. Unfortunately, Far Cry 3's success would both create and destroy the Far Cry franchise. And one of the main mistakes that Ubisoft did after Far Cry 3 was changing how they made the protagonist. People disliked Jason because he was too loud and obnoxious. So what did they do in Far Cry 4? They created AJ, who is quiet as a rock. We know nothing about his feelings, motives at all. Far Cry Primal, Tarak barely speaks, and Far Cry 5... You did not even try here, Ubisoft. I just hope that after this video people will view Far Cry 3 and Jason differently. Because in my mind, Jason is one of the best written protagonists in video game history. And I hope Ubisoft in the future, maybe Far Cry 7, will go back to this formula of writing great protagonists. Come on Ubisoft, I know you can do it. Well, I have talked long enough now, so let's do a proper ending for this one, guys.
Everyone, this is Doug. He's the DJ here, an all-around excellent guy.
I know this island where you could do anything.
In here, there's society, there's order. Out there, the jungle, the synapses in our brains go dark little by little. You forget where you're from, who you are.
Oh God, I can't do this great.
You are weak. Well, not all of you. The arm has been deadened to allow for the Tatau.
What's that?
Oh, this? This is from the tomb of a Chinese warrior.
Well, if I were you, I'd get rid of it.
Why? This knife is going to save us.
Knives take people away. They don't bring them back.
I never thought I'd be able to kill someone. The first time it felt wrong. Which is good, right? And now, it feels like winning.
Are you enjoying my sister's company? Huh? She's gonna make a warrior out of you. You are so fucked, Jason. Pull the trigger. Come on, motherfucker. Pull the trigger! Let's go shoot me! Let's go shoot me! Shoot me!
I can't come back from this. I'm a monster. I can feel the anger inside me. But I am still somewhere inside me more than that. Better than that.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video. It took me a long time to make, and if you managed to stick around to the end, I highly applaud you. As I'm doing a Far Cry marathon at the moment, I'm going to review every game in the franchise. So next up is Far Cry Blood Dragon. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe if you want more of this. And also, I highly encourage any feedback down below about my theories and video in general. And also, what was your favorite part about Far Cry 3? Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.
Peekaboo, motherfucker.